계속되는 이야기가 새로운 장을 엽니다. 최강의 탑라이너 2명이 협곡에 오르지만 승리는 단 하나뿐입니다. 하나생명과 BLG, 각자의 지역을 정복하기 위해 만들어진 슈퍼팀들. 이제 글로벌 무대를 정복하려 합니다. LCK 역사상 최고의 탑라이너 중 한 명 제우스, 그리고 LPL 최고의 탑라이너 중 한 명 빈.
빈 선수는 강력한 탑라이너다 보니까 빈 선수도 저와 비슷하게 라인전에 집중을 많이 해서 좀 되게 공격적으로 또 그리고 능동적으로 상황을 만들어내는 걸 되게 좋아하는 선수라고 생각해가지고 좀 비슷한 면이 있는 것 같습니다.
BLG, they're so damn good.
我认为现在外界有很多人说宙斯才是世界上，
This is just too damn clean.
因为他有2个亚瑟冠，所以大家都说他是历史第一上单。但这次我会击败他，证明我才是世界上。
이 두 선수에게 MSI에서 빈손으로 돌아가는 것은 실패나 다름없습니다. 바이퍼가 친정팀을 상대합니다. 하나생명은 첫 번째 MSI 우승이 간절하지만 바이퍼는 그 트로피를 자신의 것으로 만들고 싶어 합니다.
觉得 LPL 的观众可能会有些担心我们吧，但是我认为大家不用担心我们，我们会赢到最后的。
It is BLG finding the fight, the ace for nothing.
또 저희 하나생명이 이번에 MSI 처음으로 진출했는데 꼭 우승으로 좀 화려하게 알리고 싶네요.
It's an ace for HLE.
세계 최고의 탑라이너 두 선수가 MSI 결승 진출을 놓고 정면으로 맞붙습니다. 누가 대전에서 팬들의 마음을 사로잡을까요?
因为我们在 LCK 的主场打比赛，所以大家会觉得我们是反派，但我认为我们是主角，主角会赢到最后的。
빈 선수 이번에 확실하게 눌러놓고 먼저 결승에 가 있도록 하겠습니다.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to MSI 2026. We have 4 regions, 4 first seeds, and 2 of them are doing battle here today. First seed from the LCK versus first seed from the LPL. The Golden Road on the table here for BLG. They can lose a cheeky one like they did to WE here if they'd like to, and then they can have another one. This is all just to get the feelers out to see which team is better today.
Yeah, we have do-overs.
We do. It's the beauty of the upper bracket. What a lovely time to be alive. But I'm Atlas. I'm joined by Kobe and Dagda here to bring you into this one as HLE make their way to their computers.
Yeah, I think this is set to be an absolute banger. So much history between the teams, the players, the regions, everything coming to a culmination now. But as you say, you get another fighting chance. But I think both these teams want to stamp their mark today.
They definitely do. Every single matchup is an absolute banger here across the Rift. And we'll have to see what the draft priorities are, because as you say, Atlas, this is the upper bracket finals. So even if you lose, and of course, then you're going to have to challenge either Europe or North America, but you could earn yourself a rematch.
And the problem is, I think showing things in this tournament is so much more meaningful. We saw already the information advantage that a lot of teams have taken advantage of in order to get victories, and the information disadvantage when those things are out in the open, right? For example, G2 up and the Seraphim pick, things like this that have come to the forefront. So I am very much looking forward to seeing who's going to be able to pick up a victory here today and can then keep things close to the chest moving towards the final.
Yeah, I mean, especially for HLE, they have not had to show much at all at this tournament. I mean, they're on the 6-0, have dealt with their series very quickly.
Minimum games.
Yeah, they dealt with their series so quickly, Rob. And even time-wise, a lot of the games are very quick for them too, so really not showing too much.
Whereas on the opposite side for BLG, we've seen some creativity and some craftiness coming out from them. Like the Vel'Koz in the bottom lane, the Swain mid for Knight. Like, it feels like these drafts still have a lot to show on either side. And I'm just curious, how deep does that pool go?
Yeah, especially for those mages that you mentioned.
Yeah.
I mean, spying at the solo queue, I'm seeing some Syndra bottom, some Xerath bottom. You know, there's definitely some deep ones to go to.
I mean, this is Viper. He played Teemo on purpose. Like, this is a thing that he has done in the past. But here we are into Champion Select powered by HyperX. And the Vi is already taken away. Certainly a big one for both Shun and Kanavi. Man, this matchup is so weird. I feel like we're in the LPL. The Bard going to be taken away there alongside the Poppy as well. The Poppy's kind of curious. One of the picks that Shun hasn't found a victory on just yet, but can really shut down a lot of strategies, and HLE are a team that like to go forward quite quickly, and Poppy can certainly disrupt that.
Definitely, and along those lines with the Bard too, as far as affecting the side lanes, Nocturne is another high priority jungle champion that has had a huge influence on some of these team comps, especially when we have solo laners that are this powerful.
Yeah, and especially if you want to try and get the supports out to work with something like a Nocturne. The Bard being
Dobro jutro, ljudi moji.
is kind of the answer we've seen to the
A,
Canadian
da,
situation
kako
as well.
divno,
So
kako
maybe
divno,
HLE
nismo
can
ustali
fish
5
for that
ujutro.
thrill pick themselves.
Evo nas ljudi moji, još samo 4 regije koje su kasteri rekli. Ovo mislim da se nikad nije dogodilo, ili se bar jako dugo nije dogodilo, ali gledamo Kinu protiv Koreje, a sutra Evropu protiv Amerike. Što je jako, jako cool. I evo vidimo, onda ljudi pitaju za prognozu. Iskreno, ne znam zašto, ali nešto mi govori da će Hanva da prestompa. Znam da ste mislili da ću reći 3-2, ali nešto mi govori 3-1 Hanvu. Ne znam zašto. Ne znam zašto. Pa da BLG, mislim, sva logika kaže 3-2 BLG ili 3-2 Hanva, ali ja mislim da je 3-1 Hanva. Mislim će jedan game BLG popofovati, Bin će igrati Kilin, uzet će Win i mimo toga, ne znam, imam neki osjećaj Hanva da stompa. Nemam pojma. Toga cijenim Hanva. Ali ne znam, evo, nemam neki razlog ti kažem. Mislim, obe ekipe igraju dobro, BLG igra nevjerovatno, Hanva igra nevjerovatno. Samo iz nekog razloga imam neki osjećaj Hanva da stompa. Nemam neko logično objašnjenje, mimo ono što sam vidio od Hanve, mi se malkice više sviđa. Video sam i Kinu i Koreju, da? Ne, Knight je predobar, nema šta, mislim, to stoji. Knight je apsolutno predobar.
Man, this top side of the map is absolutely terrifying. HLE gonna have to find some counter picks after those two bans have come in.
I do like the strategy for BLG. When the enemy team picks no solo laners, you just slam both of them. You get your protection bans, and you know, they're not going to be able to counter both of them. They have to kind of choose here. So we did end up getting that Rel, by the way, which is a good roaming partner for the, you know, Nefiri here as well. So it's going to be interesting as far as the push on the bottom side.
Also shuts down some of the things we've seen from our on, like the Shen.
Da, dodali smo poene na streamu. Kažem, još se malo zezamo sa tim. Pobacivat ćemo razne nagrade. Kažem, čak će ljudi moći da kupuju Patreona za poene, što mislim da je jako cool. Chillaš, gledaš stream, skupiš dovoljno poena, uzmeš Patreona, mislim da je to dosta super koncept. Pored toga, mutovati druge ljude i ubacit još neke stvari, što mi će bude cool. Danas trebam da vidim sa Klarom također da li postoji šansa da pomerimo Movie Night za večeras. I da večeras bude Movie Night i off-stream Valorant. I onda smo zvanično pomerili sve s vikenda, juče i preključe i danas. I onda sutra i prekostra se streamuje Palworld. Uzet ću obzir da izlazi sutra ujutru. Ako se ne varam u 5 ujutru.
As the Lucian going to be taken away from Viper as well, pushing him even closer towards some of these mage pickups.
so, yeah, are we just going to have another mage into the Ziggs? Because Ziggs does everything that you want from this style, you know, from the bottom
Kak šanse
lane,
rigujem
but
poene?
Viper's been practicing so many different angles.
Može Klara, mislim ona se bavi s tim, možda da poene kome god pogod. Uvek sve može se riguje. Ne bi mi stavljali sistem koji ne može se riguje. To je cijela zabava. Koriste se za bet, koriste se za duele i koriste se da claimuješ rewardove iz shopa.
Utilizing the Shen, something that he will be able to exhibit incredibly effectively. That's an echo hover. Crazy things are happening here in this series.
Yeah. Does Pace live on? Because there was a lot of talk of the Echo bot lane still existing, but may not be the case here.
Yeah. All right, imagine if they picked a
Ne, taman postate legit, pupu daleko bilo.
The Rumble, though, is going to be a little bit more clear cut, but there is the Yone we were talking about. Into the hands of Zeka here, jumping straight onto Comfort.
I mean, yeah, he has
Koliko je on clean. I fore što i on radi mnogo dobro sa Ziggsom.
Already slamming them all. Speaking of
he ain't gonna be playing that one though. Is Knight pick? Wait,
the Cassiopeia
it is the Cassiopeia bot.
Casio bot, pa da, pa ja budala igram AD carry-e, vred. Prijetno, ne idem ništa. Mislim, hvala, ali...
But it sets up nicely, right? Like, in theory, we've seen the Cassiopeia does get pushed in, but the influx of gold to this champion makes her...
Jedrijem kafu blizu sebe, a i to sam završio. A zato se verovatno čula ova... kašika u šolji kafe. Rano je mnogo da se jede. Odvratna meta, da. Zašto bi AD carry igrali AD carry-e, taman posla, bre. Što džungleri sad ne igraju Soraku, pa trče me healove, ne, nema veze. I, ali šalu na stranu, Jon Akali će biti gigafan.
Viper are just going to be catching waves. Like, that's just how these two teams play.
And you have to be worried about the long chase down in that lane, because Cassio could just machine gun fire, chase you down if she gets the poison on.
If the miasma is in the right spot, that satchel will not work.
Ne, to je kašika u šolji za kafu. Sad ide odmah, mislim, ovih dana nisam pio kafu prvi meč jer je bilo 5 ujutru, nije mi se pila kafu u 5 ujutru. Ali sad je milina, sad je u 10, taman popije se lagana kafica.
So we'll have to see if he can have an impact in the mid lane against two of these melee champions, but we're already on to Summoner's Rift for this best of 5.
Čuo sam TSM. Ljudi, ne znam, ja volim AD carry-e da igram. Tako da, ja okej sam da midževi budu viable. Viper je level 1, ostaće bez mane. On neće ubiti Delighta. What the... Dobro, Wasteovo je full manu. I Wasteovo je Ghost. Nadam se da će nešto se izbalansira da AD carry-e budu opet viable.
Playing very aggressively here, misses the taunt though, misses the crash down on the other side. Good footwork here by these AP carries as Gumayushi doesn't get the bouncing bomb, just goes straight over the head of the Shen. And in the end, pretty even trade.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you managed to dodge away from that Shen taunt though and still take the worst for wear trade isn't exactly what you want, and Shun already invading onto this bottom side means he has an opportunity to try and look for a play in the bottom lane, but that ward and Tri-Brush will probably spot him out just as he tries to move in.
Yeah, the double wards here. And they're getting pushed into the tower as well. I also just love over-analyzing the early movements on skill shot dodges, you know? You're always trying to get in the head of your opponent, and Guma, on his first dodge, moves forward in the aggressive dodge, but not going to reveal himself at the moment over these wards that they did place, and so it's just going to go for the recall here.
Lazare, to je dobro pitanje i mislim da ne sprečava, ne. Zato što nije... Mislim, jeste dash, ali nije dash koji Ziggs kastuje od sebe, nego je spell koji baca na terrain. Kao recimo kada te Anivia Wall pomeri ili Trundle Pillar pomeri.
Instead, he just pokes his head in, looks to try and get some damage on tonight, is able to do so, but Zeka already had a health disadvantage. It's not going to be the end of the world.
Ma svaki matchup je dobar. Mislim, BLG i Hanma nemaju loše... Nemaju slabu stranu mape.
What goes out must come back. And Kanavi on the blue buff here. Shun is moving over on vision right now. Gets the ward down. There is the blue taken by Kanavi, and now he looks to try and turn this fight. In comes on, looking for the angle, but Zeus is going to get hit first, like you were saying. Knight's moving over. Blast Cone is there. He gets himself into the battle, but Zeus has the flame spitter out. The flash over, but the jump back from Kanavi.
Jo! Ovo je lep lol. Ovo je lep, baš lep lol, iskreno.
Zeus is overheating. On is still trying to fight as Bin makes his way in. The hop comes through, but Delight is looking to try and keep them away from his teammates. Still, he's going to go down. 2-0 for BLG.
BLG strike first in the series with the invade covered with en masse 4 members from every team showing up. Even with Rumble heading
3 minuta, 4-4 fight. Nije counter, zašto Casio se healuje, Ziggs of Poke ne radi dovoljno. U Casio se igra Oriana, ali Oriana je permabanovana, nažalost. Pogledaj ti level 3 fight.
And it's a blast cone the positions on to actually keep Zeka at bay. The flash with the taunt to come in, the heal to keep people topped up as well. Shun flag and dragging over the wall, using that mobility. And with a 3-man boomerang off the back of this from Bin, it's Delight who has to give his life so the rest can escape.
Really good evasive maneuvers by Shun. The flash, the avoidance over the wall with the EQ as well, and the early collapse. This meta, so many teams have said, is jungle-led, and we're back into the jungle scraps.
Yeah, Delight makes his way back from the death chamber immediately into another battle here, but not too much is going to come of it unless On has anything to say about it.
Not certain what happened in the bot lane, but both flashes burnt on Viper and Gumayushi, so there was some action that happened in that bottom side as well, which is why BLG now sitting in this tribe rush, considering going for Gumayushi, but this is his comfort zone. Yeah. He just lives under his turret.
Exactly, and he teleported back, so obviously lost a bit of a health trade there after the flash as well. Gets back to lane, but now the Ghost is up for Viper, so I don't think this 1v1 is going to necessarily work.
Yeah, you can see though on the side of your screens, this is BLG trying to see if they can move themselves to finals and start that Golden Road out strong, because it was kind of the last time we saw this potential for Golden Road was 2023 JDG, where it was Knight and Kanavi working together to make that happen.
Posle ove serije gubitnik ide na pobednika Liona i G2-a. A pobednik ide u finale. Jer i dalje ima lower bracket finale, znači 4 ekipe su ostale. I što najjače, ovo je vjerojatno najuzbudljiviji rezultat, u smislu imamo jednu ekipu iz Kine, jednu iz Koreje, jednu iz Evrope, jednu iz Amerike. Što je savršeno. Jer svaki international imamo Kina, Kina, Koreja, Koreja.
Are so low from Zeka right there that he doesn't have options, and Nefiri is just losing time, losing efficiency here.
He wants to try and go in towards mid lane, but Knight not really given that opportunity, even with Delight there, so they back away. He's now just going back in towards his top side. Is Dragon taken? You've got Bin under tower. BLG are controlling this early game so well.
At the highest level, jungle is just the role that you can just snowball so effectively early on in the game. These incremental advantages, single camps, can really mean the difference, and when you have an explosive invade like that involved 8 people, there are going to be huge ramifications, and Shun will be set up for success. Delight here, though, trying to get something back on the top side, as Shun is in his re-clear at the moment on Gromp, and Delight kind of spying, but pops out of the brush.
Kanavi's trying to move over, though, just finished his Krogs to try and regroup. Zeka even moving across. Maybe it's just the... Okay, just the vision play. I wasn't sure if they wanted to try and make a play towards the Wolves there, but unfortunately for HLE, it amounts to nothing for them with all the moves.
Yeah, this is going so well for BLG, remaining incredibly efficient with their moves. Right into the next clear, and look at On, already going to move in to get bot side vision for his team. Thank you for the toggle observers. Shun's level 6 now, so he can go back up On as well. They can go for the aggressive play. They've got Knight post level 6 with his Dark Seal ready.
Oh yeah. And Delight just, it feels like On is always there, ready to come out of that banana brush as they're looking for this blue buff as well. Kanavi is obviously going to fight for it. as they dive over. Shattering Strike is going to connect on to on, but Shun is going to secure that blue buff. There's the taunt flash. Oh, Viper finds a petrifying gaze.
Dobra je Gezda je prvi game za BLG. Koliko lepo igraju, brate. Baš su, obe ekipe su giga locked in, ali BLG trunku brži na rotacijama. Zašto, mislim, G2 bi trebao da dobije, ali ništa nije garantovano. Pogotovo što mi istorijski gubimo od Amerike bez razloga.
And BLG are looking slick off the back of this.
Yeah, and winning the jungle is a team event, and that's exactly what BLG are making happen here. On just seems to always be there, ready to poke his nose in, make things frustrating. As BLG looking to come over and grab these grubs. Kanavi in the area, Delight up here towards his top side as well. Looks like HLE do want to go for a fight. They're down 2,000 gold though. The first grub is going to fall. Gumiyushi gets the minefield down, but I don't think they're going to be able to do anything about this. First couple of grubs go, and there is the third. BLG going to be able to pick this up without a fight.
Yeah, Knight has started to move up mid, so BLG were ready to fight all five, but instead, it's this fight that really earned us, because you can see here On is incredibly patient with the taunt, kind of playing this gimme game with Kanavi, but instead turns on towards Gumiyushi, and it's the miasma, it's the petrifying gaze, it's the cataclysm, it's an all-out nuke for BLG.
Yeah, Guma literally 100-0 right there. You know, he got taunted into miasma, as you say, into the ultimate as well from Viper. He did get to move and he got slam dunked.
Yeah, I think he was lucky to actually be able to press R in amongst all of that. Did manage to get the ult off, but it didn't do nearly enough to make any difference in that fight. And now 1-0-1 on the Cassiopeia. HLE are looking to try and get an inroad here towards this top side of the map. But even Bin has completely evened out this matchup. It was
Tesi užasan bio, Tesi svaki international loš.
But not to be the case anymore.
I gotta say, if you poll a jungler who your favorite support is, I feel like 10 out of 10 gonna say On. This brother is a jungler support, and now he's gonna look for bottom lane for Guma again.
Well, he's actually gonna be supporting Viper here for what feels like the first time this game. There's another petrifying gaze, and man, is it scary!
Is On just the GOAT, okay? I mean, this Shen support is insane.
100% KP-a na Shenu.
Tower diving Shen, can HLE answer?
Shun here.
Looking for a bit of an angle. Shun here for the defense. They do get the knock up onto Zeus. Everyone in the Cataclysm. The equalizer goes down though. The flame shooter comes through. They do knock down the Jarv, and Bin trying to find a target.
Bin ima Megu još malo.
Down there to stop any sort of re-engage, but Bin gets the flash now. Finds the Rel as Kanavi needs to jump over this wall. He will do so. The house is not going to quite connect, and they go 1-for-1.
1-for-1. I mean, you still manage to get a lot of those minions under the tower as well, but Knight and On here. On's to level 5. I don't think you can go for this, can you?
Well, they're going to double with a 5-point strike. He only needed 2 points. As Knight will be able to take him down. It's now 8-1, and he's moved to 3-0 in the mid lane.
All right, that was nasty. That was absolutely nasty. The instant double kill. And On just happy to tank up the tower there. All right, that's my job.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't get the assist. Oh, hang on, Knight.
Yeah, he's teleported back in with a gunblade at the ready. Throws it out just there, and the flash has to be used from Zeka. He's like, what the heck happened to that guy?
He didn't even have the ultimate. That was just Knight kind of putting his foot down going, I'm first item. You might be another kill on the board, but this was insane underneath the tower.
Okay, so BLG, they're trying to set up here to counter this dive. Shun is here and ready, and they started out going onto Zeus into the big cataclysm.
And it's the Light who's just barely able to get out of range of the turret there. But as Kanavi tries to set this one up,
To plavi pitaš kada Casio tim gubi. Nekad ovako igraju.
Having the invulnerability to dodge away from that flash. Good reactions from the HLE jungler. But unfortunately for them, Knight was already on
Ovdje
the
imaju
move.
trunku više poena od samo nje.
Yeah, goes in with the flash to make sure there's no reaction. Flash ult into Q for the double. Doesn't even celebrate. Job's not done. Job is not done. You know what the job is too, because Knight gave an
3-0 Knight na main heroju.
with LPL English talking to Al, and he said, "I'm here to prove that the LPL is going to be able to take
Viper
down
samo stoji pozadi, radi damage, imaju mnogo više problema tu. Knight je baš ogroman problem. Nizam ovo i najbolji pik što je najče.
Yeah, I do just think BLG been playing so well off their lane stays. Like, shifting Viper mid consistently to match when Knight roams top, having Shun in position to cover some of these top plays. Like, they've been playing the map in these early stages so well, and obviously On helping out massively with that, with just the presence he's had in keeping HLE in their own jungle.
Shun wants a piece. He wants another blue buff here.
Oh, Kanavi may not be able to fight for this one, but he still gets knocked up. There's the taunting Knight on a rampage. Absolutely perfect execution. And BLG will be able to steal away the rest of the jungle. That was just a little bit of a bridge too far.
This
Kanavi?
looks like an instruction video of how to play the game. Like, BLG are just so clean on every single one of them. It looks set up, but now Zeka might be the next one.
Yes, the soul may be unbound in more ways than one. However, he does go back. That turret is theirs for the taking, though, as Zeus and Ben facing off underneath Zeus' turret here towards his top side. And HLE desperately need to be able to slow this game down. I just don't know whether it's ever going to be possible with just the speed that BLG are playing with.
I mean, this is BLG's comfort zone, right? The ability to very quickly get out on the map and start to play. And now, even if you start to look for a side lane play as HLE, that becomes more difficult. On is ticked over to level 6, so he can make a play top, still protect Viper on the bottom side, and keep control of these side lanes so well for BLG.
Yeah, and it's Knight's comfort zone. As you said, BLG, they operate best when Knight is very fed. That happens a lot.
Yep.
And it is true this game, in addition to all of these kills and being the...
Ne, na šta način, nije Hanva kriva. BLG je samo previše on point. Razmišljam o rotacijama kako su dobili lead rano. Nije Hanva kriva kako je BLG samo previše clean. Gdje su AD carry? A, šta je to? Misliš ono što si igralo pre nekoliko godina na botu? Ne, to je odavno van mete. Mislim da Rio trenutno radi na tome da izbaci sve AD carry iz igrice da napravi mesta za nove mage'eve. Ashe neće više imati strele, gađite magijama iz luka. Ne, više AD carry se ne igra. Gdje smo bestali? Mnogo bolje. Sad kad se ustaje u 10, a ne u 5, mnogo bolje.
Yeah, this could be number 5 as the equalizer goes down from Zeus. He does have his teammates coming, but they're not going to be there soon enough. The Magnus Storm is going to come down, but Knight gets himself out of there. Kanavi
Knight ima shroud, ali umru u shroudu. Dobar Petrify. Ju.
BLG delete HLE from the map. It does start around Knight. And it ends down here as well, Dagda.
And it's the immediate ult from On as well. They know that there's going to be a huge amount of pressure down in this bot lane. Knight gets the kill, On TP's in. Shun is here to support, but Knight survives for so long. Because even though you get the immediate crash down, Kanavi tries to get the ult in. Knight's able to step away from the sweet spot of the ult from Gumayushi, and this is when the cavalry arrives.
The name of the game is team play. BLG have been so cohesive from the very first play of the game. Going for the invade, Shun steals away their bottom side of the map. Then on the response, BLG defend better on and Knight with that early collapse. And since then, every play has been BLG.
Yeah, the Masma just stopping Delight from being able to press any button at all, really. He does have Ghost, but that's not going to help him here as he is likely to go down. Gets the heal, nice satchel, but it's not going to be enough. Down he will go, and Shun, he's the one to now pick up his 5th kill of the game.
Yeah, Kanavi just trying to hold on.
Oh dear, Knight going for the 1v1, they will find it.
I don't envy the observers here. How are you supposed to keep up with this?
Well, I mean, they're doing a pretty good job as Kanavi's going to go down as well. They knew he was about to bounce over that wall. He is going to stay alive, at least for the next couple of
Nema, ovo je, mislim, 6k golda, 16-2 lead, ne bi trebali dropaju 3 života, iskreno.
So turns out BLG can also snowball very effectively against the...
U 3 života ne bi trebali dropaju ovakav lead.
Well, it's also, you were talking about Alk doing an interview for LPL English. She did one with Kanavi as well. And Kanavi was talking about how he needed to be aware of how quickly LPL junglers can play the game. Like, he hasn't had that same level since coming over to the LCK. And you're kind of seeing, you know, maybe he's slightly rusty coming into this one.
Yeah, might have slowed down just a little bit. It's not really been what we've assumed in the LCK. We felt like the rest of HLE kind of caught up to Kanavi, but we're starting to see that perhaps that was not true.
And I just love that it is all about the team play and everyone of one mind here on BLG. They're not hesitating at all. Every single play, you know, so well coordinated. The follow-up in CC between On and literally everyone else, especially Viper with these key roams. We were going to be a little bit skeptical of this cast.
Ne, best of 5 ima još da se igra, lagano ljudi. Lagano ima još da se igra.
Ghost popping so he can be in position for a lot of these plays. On there, going for a little bit of a check, you know. That's kind of a see if they flinch when you taunt at them. I'm not going to throw my flash, but maybe I can get something.
But that's why I think this meta suits On down to a T, right? Like, this guy has always been so good at cheating tempo, faking the map movements that he's going to play, and should be able to step away from this, but it's also, as you say, like, just there, trying to see if he can maybe blow a summoner spell, just kind of be a bit cheeky, and now this roaming style meta where he's able to be out on the map is perfect for him, and I think that's why BLG could thrive just off the back of him alone.
He's also immune to caster curses. Trying your best.
Which I appreciate.
Oh, I was going to say, like, even that is maybe an extra layer he didn't deserve. Yeah, it was kind of beautiful. And it's all right, Zeka going to be able to grab himself a plate, take some of that crystalline overgrowth off, but BLG, I mean, they just kind of look at the river and take full control. HLE down 7.5k gold, pre-20 minutes. I mean, this is an absolute massacre at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, BLG are just
Najti vrh momentalno, najti vrh već 4-5 godina.
And they've done it yet again here. So I think this one
Najti je jako dugo jedan od najboljih midlanera na svetu.
Obviously because of not only gold but also the dragon. So I mean, HLE, they might already be thinking about like draft for the next game, because right now they can't even get their red buff.
Yeah,
and also got the smite dialed in, Atlas.
This is the problem though as well. If you're looking at the next game, if you're looking at like the fearless value, I guess you could say Kanavi took away the Neferi. HLE fans probably not too excited about that, but in goes Knight, and he could have used Zeka's skin if he would like to on this champion. And that is another denial from HLE. I think BLG get a lot out of this, even as far as Fearless is concerned, moving into game number 2.
This is just insane. Like, BLG are trying so hard, just continuously keep this pressure up. And even now, like, with that push away, you still have Shun covering for Knight. He's starting to get more turret plates. Kanavi.
Yeah, I don't know what Kanavi is supposed to be able to do here as he does bounce his way out, but he's still just dead. That's a solo kill here for Shun.
Absolutely absurd. Like, Shun is just living in his jungle, and it's so incredibly difficult for Kanavi. Like, you're
S tim da iskreno lit koji je napravio na BLG na početku ih je dosta lansirao ovde. Mislim, hoću da kažem da mislim da dalje nije gotovo za Hanmu, iako su ovde baš pregaženi ovaj game. Ovaj game je verovatno gotov. Ali kao ova serija mislim da nije full domed još.
And I think that Guma was scared at the beginning of that play, definitely was at the end after Viper got in there.
Man, the read from On right there and the fall, but he's like, you know what? I'm going to play up the Rift Herald as well. Guma's in a great spot right now to throw my flash this time. I'm not faking this time. We're going to full send.
Što znači oni ovde najviše, ja bih rekao, presmurfova.
There are the memes, the only thing, you know, for, as we see Knight delete another.
Well, Delight is going to try and exhaust him, but even tired, Knight is very capable of just...
On je baš smurfao ovaj game.
So there are the memes of BLG bad late game, but I think the chances...
What late game, Kirby?
Yeah, I think the chances of that showing up are literally zero this game. I think it's actually, we'd never get there.
I think it's also when you don't really have to play macro, you just send Knight into a position HLE might be. I think it becomes a lot easier to try and do that, you know?
Yeah. I think being able to attack move is all you really need at this point in time.
It's also like, I do think BLG have this insane ability to just lock the hell in whenever they are up against some of these really top teams. And especially when you're playing against some of the guys that, you know, for Knight that denied you that golden road back in the day, like, it gets personal for these lads.
Oh, it does.
I mean, the idea of, like, play to the level of your opponents, or ideally, just above the level of your opponents. And here, they certainly are. So, game number 1, of course, you know, this is an absolute blowout from BLG. But we have seen teams, you know, bounce back within best-of-5 series. We had a very rare, even reverse sweep already at this tournament. And so even when an individual team is a blowout like this, It does not mean the rest of the series necessarily is going to go in the same favor. You could definitely see a world where HLE are also able to do a very massive snowball game within this series a little bit later on. Not this one.
And also shellackings are much easier to bounce back from than very close long games, because that is very strenuous, incredibly stressful, and then the whole time you felt like you could do it, and then you're one game further away.
So right, this game they're like,
this game,
at no point did I feel like
based on what I've seen Kanavi doing, he is already thinking about what to play in game 2.
Yeah, I mean, the Mascot Prices moment there coming up with the Soul, but I didn't want to just highlight, like, the hunt for the Golden Road for BLG is massive for them. Like, this was denied from Knight and Kanavi on JDG back in 2023 by Gumayushi and Zayas, but now they want to get a little bit more.
Yeah, Cataclysm onto only Kanavi is not exactly the target they're looking for, as Delight is just kind of dead as an afterthought. Kanavi gonna have to run the heck out of there as the Twin Fangs are being sunk in. And BLG now just
Dodali smo Ragu poene koje dobijaš samo što gledaš stream. Znači, chillaš, gledaš stream, dobiješ poene i onda te poene možeš trošiš na neke stvari koje ćemo ubaciti. To je u suštini cijela poenta. Uglavnom malo je to zabave.
We haven't even had time to really talk about items or anything like that, but Knight does have a very cool book that he's put together already.
He does like it.
A few pages in there as well. And Shun getting closer and closer to his Guardian Angel, not to mention Bin with a couple of items. I mean, man, this is just... it's just over, isn't it?
Is Knight the most... okay, we got another on ult. They're going to kill someone.
Kanavi is dead, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to flash first, but then he is indeed going to go down.
Is Knight the most prolific writer of all League pros? Because he buys Medjais the most of any pro for internationals, guaranteed.
It's literally every game.
Guaranteed.
Every single game he picks it up. It's like known in China as Knight's murder book.
He's got,
like it is just, that is his thing. It's his shtick, you know?
Yeah, he does have the death note.
Well, Zeker is going to look for a bit of an angle. He does manage to buff for the ulti, but still gets knocked up. Nothing he could do. Shun able to lock down that kill as Knight gets into the back line.
Ubiše ih.
An electrocution onto Gumayushi and an execution onto HLE here in game number 1. My God, it was not close as BLG just paving this road.
Lepo. Nema šta. Za sve streamove, Rago. Sve streamove. Šta god je na mom kanalu se skupljaju poeni.
Yeah, he may as well see whether he dives the fountain. Not going to be the case just yet, as Kanavi is trying to tempt them into it, but the Nexus is going to be the focus here. BLG, all business, as they will be able to take game number 1. Utter demolition.
I want to know what BLG did to warm up for this series, because it looked really good, analysts.
Mislim, nadamo se zbog fanova Koreje da ovo neće biti 3-0, ali prvi game, kažem, ogroman stomp. BLG uhvatili su bolji zalet, krenuli su jako, a s ekipom ovog kvaliteta generalno takav lead bi uvek morao da bude dovoljan da vineš game. Čak nužno možda ni nebitno ko je s druge strane, tako da ništa, lep game, 10 minuta pauze, vraćamo se s game broj 2.
But I did also say he's the best player in the world.
It's true.
You know? I got some things right, okay?
It's true. And thanks to the reliable Cisco network, we saw that crisp double kill top lane as one of the many highlights.
BLG show up, they make this collapse. It started with this initial dive that was supposed to happen on Bin. He gets 1 kill. Everyone is moving instantly on the map from BLG. On takes the tower. Knight goes in, picks up an easy double, and this is the last man you want to see get ahead of the pace of the game because he just runs the game over.
Oh yeah, he completely takes over this game, and as we're going to see a lot more Akali highlights from this, I do want to call out again the boys, Shun and On, setting up this early game. This was so classically BLG in terms of how they played, right? That early invade down on the bot side. This where I believe he just hits, although that was another play, but the play on bot side where he hits level 6, immediately Jarvan ults I love the way that these two played in tandem. And then Knight just, absolutely popped off.
I mean, the solo kill on Zeka, the solo kill on Kanavi through exhaust. He's just walking anywhere, killing anyone. Early Magi, getting all the stacks in the book, wiping them off the map. That is a melee champion. 20,000 damage. Second at 5K! He did 4 times!
Embarrassing screenshot.
On did more damage than Zeka.
I mean, this is crazy. You know, I came into this, yes, I did predict HLE. I thought it was going to be more about HLE being that more complete team, but how they actually function as a unit. This felt like it was more about individuals, more about individual outplays. That early skirmish that we did watch decided a lot of the game, and there's individual outplays. There's little moments where it could have gone the way of HLE, but BLG, it felt like, got the better of them in every little fight, and then it just got further and further and further away from them to the point where HLE could do nothing.
Yeah, and this is BLG at their best, because I also, like you, predicted HLE, and the reason why I did is I was like, okay, I feel like we haven't seen that level of play from BLG yet at this tournament. Well, here it is, guys. I hope you enjoyed, because it's very, very entertaining. I love watching BLG when they are on.
Yeah, this brings me back to that Viper quote about LPL style and this and that. It's like, we're gonna show you. We're gonna show you what LPL style is.
LPL style is a 24-minute win with 100 kills.
Yeah, 25 to 2 kills. Yeah.
Crazy. We're about to go to game 2 after the break. So pointers for HLE. Us three all said they were gonna win.
I mean, I think you just have to wipe that one out of your memory. This one was decided in early skirmishes. I think if a couple little things went the other way, it could have been HLE snowballing the game.
Yeah, and I mean, I do think HLE absolutely have the players to be able to contend, so it's about tracking, especially Shonen on in the early game, not allowing them to set up for the BLG carries.
Yeah, we'll see. There's a lot to review and not a lot of time. We're going to kick it over to a break, and we'll come right back to see if HLE can fight their way back into this.
Tired of the off-season blues once Worlds is over? Fear not, because League of Legends is coming to the very first Esports Nations Cup, where players split from their clubs and compete for national pride. Will China test every limit imaginable? Will South Korea turn every game into a macro masterclass? Will EU and NA actually play in the correct lanes? The final event of the year is not to be missed. Esports Nations Cup 2026. See you in Riyadh.
In esports, legendary moments demand speed, scale, and soul. Players and fans bring the heart. Technology brings it to life. Every frame, every stat, every decisive play. In partnership with League of Legends Esports, we're driving digital innovation that empowers the esports ecosystem to keep expanding. So players can focus on the game, and fans can focus on the moment.
Times like this are where star players shine and new legends step up, where legacy legacies are built and dreams are either realized or ripped apart. He still doesn't die! You cannot step the Vega and expect to live to talk about tomorrow! He blocked it well with the Arcane Storm, doing so much work in Gen 3! They are just going to ace them!
When I was a player, if I was to like make a misplay, maybe it's my mouse, maybe it's my armrest, something feels wrong. If you were at home, you wouldn't do that.
The Infinite Precision Armrest is part of the larger Circulab on Stage standard initiative, aimed to bring your home or training room settings to the tournament stage.
이제 저뿐만 아니라 다른 선수들도 세팅을 더 원활하게 할 것 같고
가장 편안할 때 더 강력한 플레이가 자연스럽게 나옵니다.
Red Bull gives you wings.
again 분위기에 맞게 하나 둘 셋 짠 싸울리고 건배 오늘 밤은 one take 되돌릴 수 없게 my friend you know we got no time for hesitate then now take that red pills feel like living in the mattress 맞아 즐겨 춤을 추는 객기 yelling
Hey, what's up, Paul?
I think I figured it out, Andre.
Figured what out?
A way to go back.
Back where?
It's not where. It's when. It's all right here. I mean, we just have to figure out when. When is it, you know? Let me ask you this, Andre. What is League to you? Is it season 1? Is it season 4? Could it have been season 2 when we started having with jungle pathing? Could it be when we had Heart of Gold? It was a shell. Why was it named Heart of Gold? It could be anything that we want.
I mean, I get it, Paul, but I really do think...
2 Shens in the game? Is it OG beta when there was 40 champions? Look at Lux, look at the way she used to look. It could be any of these things, Andre.
I mean, I would kind of like to play Old Graves again.
Pretty good. What if we went back to that time? It could be any of those times. Be a lot of fun.
What would you call this thing if we did it, though?
Clash Fates.
No, we're done with that.
All right, okay. Old League.
Who's that even for?
Your favorite league. Okay, that was a little weird. Okay, I think I got it. League Classic.
Well, Zeker is going to look for a bit of an angle. He does manage to buffer the ulti, but still gets knocked up. Nothing he could do. Shun able to lock down that kill as Knight gets into the back line. That is an electrocution onto Gumeyushi and an execution onto HLE here in game number 1. My God, it was not close. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, MSI 2026. Man, that first game was pretty quick, but I am woken up by the speed at which BLG played it.
AORUS has been warmed up. BLG, they warmed up a long time ago. They came in hot.
Yeah,
already.
they did.
Yeah.
HLE needs to do the same thing,
Yeah,
please.
we need to check on them real quick after that. But you know, a lot has been said, Atlas, about how much HLE improved when everybody got on board. Play around Kanavi's game plan, you know, be in sync for jungle timers, play for all this, you know, aggressive style. But BLG just beat them to the punch and then snowballed so effectively after defending that first invade.
And this is why I think a lot of people kind of were surprised when, or at least coming into the tournament, were surprised when people were saying BLG could win the tournament, right? Because I think a lot of people are like, hey, HLE have the advantage, they're better all around, but BLG have these moments where they can just wake up, they turn it on, and they go, no, we are just going to outperform you in every way, shape, and form. And we kind of got to see it in Game 1, but Game 1 does not define a series. You still have to get yourself across the finish line, and as we get into our Champ Select presented by HyperX, we're going to have to see exactly what that game plan is going to be.
Yeah, and I think Rises are now sort of on the mind. With the Cassiopeia already taken away and used in the bottom lane in game number 1, maybe the blue man is going to be a thought. But HLE just banned the same champions here. They are on the blue side this time around. That was their decision, and it was second pick chosen here by Dani and BLG.
Yeah, I 100% agree. As far as Rise priority right now, skyrocketing, it's another like side effect of bot lane mages being so prevalent. It's only game 2 in Fearless.
Yeah, stop stealing my picks, Dani!
But also, yeah, fearlessly blocking out the Cassio down there, and Orianna gonna remain banned because she's been so high priority.
Your Nocturne still up and available though, Kobe, if that is going to be the focus. The Syndra banned away as well by HLE because we were seeing a bit of funny business with the Syndra being swapped around as well. So I am curious what this first pick is going to be in that mid lane.
And I think the Rise gets even a bump from that as well with the Syndra ban. And respect to, yes, it is Knight Syndra, but Viper's also been playing it in solo queue in bot lane too, so they could even could have even flexed it. But yeah, I think that one also puts even more. But of course, you can still play like Talia and stuff into the Rise if you do give it up. It's not the end of the world. There are still plenty of other possible answers BLG could go for.
Mel, also another option if you want to go for it, but they're going to take the other side of the coin and go for this Camille, so trying to take that one away for Delice.
You know what? I also agree. Game 1 had a pretty big support difference.
Yeah, it did.
On was insane, so they prioritized that roaming support. And they are going to have to give up the Rise in order to do it, though.
And also taking away the Camille from On for the rest of the series sounds like a really good idea when he had a game like he just did. But it gives away the Rise, like we were saying, incredibly high priority. The Anivia, as far as an answer to the Rise is concerned, is going to be there. You were mentioning the Talia already, so there are some options, but it doesn't feel like a lot of them are all that good at the moment.
Yeah, I was going to say you can also take the Nocturne here for Shun and have a great time. Like the Nocturne being able to support this Rise in the sideline is an option, but going for the Lee Sin, wanting that early aggression. So do HLE now. Mel, is that the option here to try and pair alongside this? And yeah, maybe in the jungle there for Kanavi.
Kanavi has played it already this tournament, as has Shun, in fact, but we'll see what they do decide to go with. The Wukong going to be the option instead, or at least considered for now.
Yeah, some AoE to go with your Camille here. I mean, they can build an Annie Wukong combination. It's the synergy, like the...
We love it. Keep it simple, Rise Group. It's Kissinger. We're loving it. All we need is a Rakan from Delight, his signature pick, and this is perfect. Back to basics.
The most common pairing here, and it's like, okay, we'll get some extra AoE with our AoE. Problem is that Rise has pretty good options for splitting, and Lee Sin is very mobile as well. If you add on another Mbessa here, you know, another solo lane that can gain priority towards sides, you can put a lot of pressure to spread. And Camille can she can force a fight. You know, you're going to have to still group and force only one area, so you still can get picked apart across the map.
I am curious what Viper and all want to opt into to this Camille, though, because you could end up banning the Mel here and just trying to limit that pool for BLG. But we've seen things like, you know, the Caitlyn Elise attempt to be an answer in towards this Mel bot lane if you want to. On very capable of picking up that champion, but then you're kind of in this situation where it is a bit more difficult with trying to land the cocoons, and it hasn't quite worked out, I think, as a lot of teams have planned. So options for BLG, sure, but I think if I'm HLE, I'm trying to limit that with things like that Caitlyn ban in the bottom lane.
I do like the protection, though, this Renekton ban coming on through, making sure that Bin's life is as good as possible towards that top side of the map on the Mbessa. Speaking of on, that is going to be the Alistair taken away. Not necessarily speaking of, I just said the word on, so it's not necessarily
I say just keep going with it. No one's going to question you.
I hope not, because we're going to make that mistake a lot throughout this series.
Okay, so something that's been pretty fun this tournament, but hasn't popped up quite yet. Everyone loves talking about the solo queue picks and the Jax support into the Camille. Hey, the dodge zone of the Shen was already used, so you can't use that. But you could use another dodge zone if you want to get spicy, and we can keep our insane, battlefield of supports going. We'll throw it out there. The likelihood is still probably not that high because you don't have
Nautilus
to
is being
yet.
banned, though. The Bard's already banned. They're thin in the
better
pool.
and better, Atlas?
Yeah, it certainly is. I don't know whether it's actually going to be the choice. There are still other champions up and available. But let's
I will
see.
also say on an exceptionally good Rakan. So maybe that's the option for like a Zyra Rakan in that bottom lane to try and set you up easily. But
I love this. It's like you can't play the Rakan because we're just going to play Leona instead.
I mean, could be the case. This is... We saw it yesterday, at least from Labrov. Could be a decent play here to just try and have solid CC, the ability to start roaming around, try and match some of that Camille in the early stages.
Yeah, Leona very sturdy. They do need some, help for face checking here. So
I was weirdly assuming Camille was going top lane, but never mind. Continue.
The flexibility options, Atlas.
Yeah, I got blinded by the Wukong Annie Rakan.
They're limitless. The flexibility options are limitless.
Wait a second, they're picking both of them!
You can literally get away with saying anything is flex. Here we go, baby. All right, so we are still assuming the normal of the Camille bottom lane support, but, we'll see here. Leona, though, back to the Leona, though. I really do think this is such a good pairing with Lee Sin, because you can have priority on the Wukong. Like, this duo, Shun and On, already, their synergy and their roam timers were really good, helping Shun, defend jungle and go for invades. When you have a Leona at your back as Lee Sin, you feel like you can literally do everything. Your engage range is insanely long, and you can really punish.
Oh, Viper, okay. The Taliyah bottom lane. I remember this, and I'm sad that I do. Yeah, the Taliyah Pantheon back before Fearless. They played it 3 times in a row. The series went 3 games, and they did not pick up a trophy. But this is with a Leona, a different story.
And also against the Camille, that hook shot not going to look so fancy if you're just jumping over a pile of stones.
Like tripping over the stones, and you turn up, I'm here, guys.
Taliyah bot lane.
Got so much set up there as well.
Pa dobro, mislim, to je... Uzeli su Taliju na botu, ljudi, ja stvarno ne mogu.
Yeah, I mean, if Camille tries to go for the engage and Leona just stands there and stat checks you, hits you with the stun into the Taliyah combo, just try and fight him front to back and delete that Camille.
Yep, and somewhere CV Max is sitting down going, I had this idea first in 2019. It was a very long time ago.
2019 mentioned?
Yeah, I mean, hey, hang on. That's getting into tomorrow territory. I will not burden you guys with thinking about that one. I do not want infighting on my desk.
I think tomorrow is going to be more of like a 2023 vibe, actually.
Okay. This is what I didn't want to happen. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the rift for game number 2. BLG already leading the scoreline there with 1-0. HLE probably still a bit dazed after that first one.
Well, let's see if they get stunned early on in this one, because On walks up, and that combo, if they actually go for anything here, hovering and trying to use On as a little bit of bait. Nobody's going to walk in and face check, though. Zeka will hold his anti-stun. On will just hold his skills too.
Yeah, it looks like they were waiting to see if HLE took some space in the enemy jungle and were like, oh, we're going to place a ward, maybe cash them out. But it does mean there is a ward already down at the Raptors for Shun, so Kanavi having a bit of information as to what this Lee Sin's up to.
All right, having a look first here towards his bottom side. What is your guys' experience with the Taliyah Leona bottom lane?
My experience is it's going to be Leona stun into EW combo.
Zef smo iskinuo Jaxa, ali brate mili, od svih mageeva Taliyah. A što najjače, znate da Taliju najmanje gotivima, mislim, od svih heroja, bukvalno.
Like a side lane, so then she can kind of play off of the fact she's the Weaver's Wall. But honestly, Weaver's Wall out 2 side lanes to support the Mbessa is going to be pretty good.
There's the hook shot in. Viper taking a lot of damage already. 4th shot picked up there by Guma. Will be able to walk his way back.
threads the needle right there, though. Being able to get back onto Viper and get a round on here for the engage, and HLE did a good job getting their bush presence first here, so they get to control the push on in.
Yeah,
and,
extra bit of vision here removed.
I mean, the burst damage and the value out of Hail of Blades, level 1.
Shun is avoiding the ward, though. Cleared out towards his top side now, moving in towards mid lane. Zeka?
Oh, yeah.
Used his ward hop.
Zeka was feeling safe. Shun is out of the brush for the moment.
Nice
Zeka is
ping.
going to be able to move him down.
Yeah, the blue ping there as well.
Shun wasting a lot of time here, though. So, yeah, gonna now be spotted just walking across. So, for Kanavi, you know you're very far ahead of the clear. Is on.
Yeah.
Takes a little bit of a love tap from Delight.
And nice use of the true damage there as well, but does get thrown back by that seismic shove, and so Delight going to have that trade completely equalized by the Talia.
Okay, so this time around, you know, going to be a bit delayed for Shun. We'll see if that ends up mattering. You know, Kanavi on Wukong obviously is going to look for the power clear, really wants to get to the level 6, so just get back into the re-clears, but finishing up towards the top side.
Yeah, I'm curious why Kanavi doesn't like the respawn of the timers here for BLG, right? Because an opportunity to go back, spend your gold, then try and look for the Raptor camp that's respawning, or even avoid the recall and just immediately try and invade, because you know Shun is spending a lot of time on this bottom side, and he's seen not the quickest of clears in that regard.
Having a look here, the matchup between Zeka and Knight, things pretty Knight favored historically, and the history as recently as last game is certainly going the same way. We'll see whether Zeka can figure it out here, as right now with the wave pushed up is actually in a very good spot on the Annie, but still very early days.
Yeah, it is also going to be a little biased, like you had Zeka in the LPL, not the best teams, but here we go, this is the invade we were talking about.
Mislim da ne očekuje onda uopšte basicuje ovaj game Jin. Generalno nisam ljubitelj Jina sa Deadfireom, ali mislim da ovdje uzeo zašto zna da u ovom gameu vratno neće moći priđe. Jer u Lisi na Ambesu ti ako si iole blizu samo ćeš biti doomed. Tako da trade mobility za raw damage i to je to.
They can force that play onto the second respawn of Raptors.
Yeah, he's going to go back over towards his Wolves, which he didn't pick up on his first clear, so then going to move up towards his Krog, so it's kind of in an awkward spot now for Shun, where he still hasn't got this reset, which is giving Kanavi a lot of time in the map where he's not there.
Yeah, and it makes your next reset really awkward as well, because you're just ping-ponging all across both sides. So it definitely incentivizes you to look for ganks or look for invades on your opponent as well.
Ja najviše volim Fleet, iskreno. Ja najviše volim Fleet.
Controlling again the vision and the roams around mid has been so critical, and BLG had done a pretty good job of that. Delight, of course, trying to get some early moves on the Camille and even up that difference.
As AS actually, Spidey senses tingling here towards the top side, is not going to be walking up towards Bin. And Shun not going to be able to find any gank angle there either. I was actually thinking about saying it, you know, when in doubt, just try and kill someone. But that wasn't even really an option there on that top side of the map. Dragon now coming up, as we will start with the Cloud. As a bear comes down from the sky, and there is a nice Zenith Blade here from On. Gets the cleanse already out of Gumayushi.
He just had the Unraveled Earth used by Viper, though, so there's no real follow-up. To me, this speaks more about, I think, Viper and On trying to get some sort of push on the bottom side, so they could look for Dragon, especially off the back of this Gromp take coming through from Shun. But we'll have to see if that is the case, because you can see there's just no real camps up, apart from the Raptors that are just about to respawn.
Knight having a battle with Tibbers right now. Zeka feeling all right at the moment in the lane, but On and Shun are going to move up just to make sure that Knight is okay. Zeka will lose his bear, 50 gold over to the Lee Sin.
And this is some of that kind of downtime on his own.
Koliko se on rotira, brate, non stop je svugde na mapi. Mnogo lepo igra ovu seriju on.
Yeah, I don't know about Zeka's positioning here as he's in amongst three people. Tempest goes down and so does the Annie. First blood over to Shun.
Shun found that scrap, Kobe, managing to take that kill in the mid lane. Kanavi does get that crab on the top side, pushing him to level 6. So a little bit of tension in this mid lane. BLG even sent him Viper in just to cover in case something went awry.
It's always the fallback. All right, I don't have camps to farm. Let's do something. And I think it might have been some comms about the crab, because Kanavi was pushing crab up to the top, and so Knight was kind of leaning into the river. But if you're getting that close as Annie and checking like that,
didn't they see them all on the control wood?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
That's what I thought as well. So Zeka thought that maybe he could sneak his way in there, but I think was seen. But bit of an error there from the mid laner. Zeus is also going to miss a cannon. Oh, it's a cavalcade of errors here on the map at this point in time. But Delight going to be going back. It is nowhere near any sort of insurmountable lead at this point in time. Very different to what we saw with those couple of kills picked up in game number 1, but still a decent start here to bail Shun out from a difficult early path in this game.
Yeah, just a little unfortunate for Delight that he didn't actually have any wards that he could have placed a little bit deeper into the jungle there to spot it exactly where Shun was. So at least for the moment, Shun going to stay hidden as he moves back up towards his top side. And Zeus doesn't actually have any wards at the moment, and you've got Knight with the Realm Warp moving, so you can see Zeus immediately starting to back off that top side.
And while we have seen a lot more roaming out of Delight early on, and it seems like, oh, where is On? He hasn't been doing it as much this time. He has been getting an extra level in the bottom side, so he does have that full level lead over Delight with the Leona. Even though not as quick as the Camille, is going to be very scary when you get your ultimate first, because that is a very long range, and if they can blow some flashes, it is going to spell death.
Yeah, you can see though the pressure that you have with the Camille and the Jhin on the bottom side has netted at least a nice gold lead for Gumayushi on the Jhin as he's able to push in, now opening up in the mid lane as well, as there is some trading from BLG going on. I don't think they've spotted that Gumayushi could be here yet, so just going to clear the wave.
Yeah, and some grubs going over to HLE in the meantime. Kanavi able to at least grab those, still with a bit of a camp lead as he takes the first one. It looks like there's going to be no contest. But Viper's here towards his bottom side, grabbing some crockery out of this turret. And that should be unanswered at the moment with Shun clearing out this control ward. The dragon has been begun as well. So even though the grubs will go over to this Wukong, it's not without a cost, as Zeka does find another bear towards Knight. Knight seems not too perturbed.
No je BLG baš ne cijeni. Mislim, pogotovo me iskreno on pozitivno iznenadio. On stvarno igra i više nego clean.
I'm still seeing some of those cheeky HLE wards in behind Viper as he goes for those pushes. Like, they've been so good at TPing Zeus into some of these scraps, almost having that TP available for Zeka as well. So it may be a case of HLE trying to blow open something through this bottom side.
I really want to see if On can coordinate something to play off his earlier level 6 as well. I mean, he gets it now, and they did see him get it, so maybe nothing too sneaky. But again, that experience difference for supports is so huge in this mid stage of the game when Leona's roam now can be devastating.
Yeah, I think lucky for HLE that it's 4 minutes until anything is going to be up and available as far as those neutral objectives are concerned. But maybe something that they could fight around, as BLG have been very good at just creating things to fight around, like a blue buff or a red or maybe even a ward. There have been certainly ways to accelerate.
Evo ovako, Bonon, evo ovako.
Exactly the Krubs.
Ne, u redu je. Sa kolektivnom količinom spavanja koju posjedujemo, možda prođe.
Defense is just too good here by BLG.
Yeah, doing a nice job of just shifting across the map, covering the plays, and honestly, this was the thing that I expected to see more from HLE. Like, I thought they did this fantastically in the series against G2, always catching where Skewmon was, making sure you're in position to cover for some of these plays, but at least in game 1, they couldn't keep pace. This game, it's BLG who are actually managing to keep up some of the pressure here. Has been good trade against Zeus. With the public execution, though, a little more difficult to hit on towards Jax, who can just leap strike away.
Yep, Soulflare going to connect, though. That is an extremely dead Delight. And was level 5, I don't think the ult would have helped.
Yeah, in the dirt instantly. It was a really good pick there, right over the wall.
And it was with a solar flare. They found it.
I mean, yeah, it's so hard to deal with, right? It's a lot more simple.
Kanavi able to use the warrior trickster decently there, still has to flash away, holds onto the Cyclone and elects to use the flash instead, maybe feeling like he'd have to use it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you got a lot more roams earlier for the Camille, but he didn't get, kills or assists on them, and so On just kind of played the more stable game, and then once you've got the bigger firepower, it's going to be a big difference.
It's also just how deep the ward coverage has ended up being for BLG versus HLE, right? Like, we've seen those roams, but actually the wards just died on top side, but quite shallow in the BLG jungle, whereas you've got now very deep wards that are littering the bottom side of the HLE jungle, and it gives so much more information over. So as you say, like the roams were there, but I think the capitalization, what you can do with those roams.
Ne, legitimno mislim da ovaj game samo on gapuje. No joke.
Here towards the top side, Zeus continuing to take a little bit of a battering. That is the Eclipse spike here from Bin in full effect. The Ambassador is just way stronger at this point in time, as we do see some pings towards the bottom side of the map.
And 4 people going top at Bin.
Yeah, there is the deadly flourish as well. The curtains are being called. He's looking for Zeus, who flashes out of the way of the public execution. Delight gets in the Hextech ultimatum to take the kill. And HLE are on the board.
The flash forward to make sure that he covered the distance on towards Bin, who's doing his best to get out of there.
At
but
what
still,
cost?
A kill for HLE.
As BLG look to grab some plates here in this mid lane. Zeka moving over just to try and clear these last few minions. Will be able to do so before too many plates fall.
I will say, one of the very common fallback patterns against BLG, when teams start losing versus BLG, I mean, we did this, Lion did this when we were losing a lot early on. To get back in the game, they were just like, all right, let's look for Bin in a side lane, try and pick off Bin a couple times and add to those isolated deaths. This one is like, okay, like you cannot do much to get away from this. Like,
no.
Camille with ultimately a flash on you. The Jhin is walking up lane, hitting the W on you. They're sending 4 people straight to your lane, and it's still towers are still
Bin
up.
asked them really nicely to let him
Oh, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, it's pretty poor.
Uzeli su mu Jaxa, lik ih i dalje bije, nevjerovatno.
Request. Let's 1v1. Don't call the jungler. Can you call your AD carry and support though?
I think he specified the 1v1.
Did he also do a little trash talking beforehand, or before he was very nice and kind about it? Yes,
it's subjective, you know. It's
true.
It's open to interpretation.
All right, well, Knight here towards this bottom side of the map. Zeka is staying away from this. Rise will be able to catch that wave before it gets towards this outer turret. Still, it's a 1.3k gold advantage for BLG. They have been able to snowball that small lead that they picked up with the first blood.
I don't think, like, for HLE though, like, you're too stressed about it. You still got the Camille who's now roaming towards Bin again, who doesn't have flash, and you still have an insane wombo, and you've managed to pick up Void Grubs, which is great for Zeus if you're going to get this Jax fed, right? So it does seem to be that HLE have just adapted the game plan to, as you said, Kobe, kill Bin.
Well, they're now looking to try and kill him underneath this turret here, or maybe catch on rotation. There it is, the Eclipse. A whole lot of value, though, as he does flash his way out. The teleport to come through as well, as Zeka is joining this play. They are truly overloading this top side of the map. As now, looking for a turn onto Zeus, perhaps.
Mislim, bolje nego prošli game, to je sigurno.
Into position. It's taking them some time as the Dragon's already gone down on the other side of the map, and there is the kick flash out at Shun. Guma taken down, and on the other side of the map, he's left hanging.
It's so good for BLG. They defend while they're taking Dragon. They defend the weak side there. On slips in. He's happy to tank the engage. Wait a second. Okay. At least they got the crab, you can say, for HLE. But BLG do so good taking the objective bot and then defending the other side.
Oh, Delight making his way in. There's a Hextech ultimatum onto Viper's Kanavi wanting to make his way in. He will be able to get there, although never mind, elects not to go forward. Now On could be in a little bit of trouble. Does have that Eclipse to make him so durable as Kanavi gets the next Cyclone to take down the support. But the Monkey will be traded for it, and Bin picks up the kill.
But it's BLG who've just been using these globals so well. You get the Realm Warp to pick off Gumayushi. Then as you get that TP from Zeus to the bottom lane, you end up with Knight teleporting down to match that play, and it's then jungle for support as Shun able to cover on the mid lane as well. It's this constant rotation to keep pace with HLE.
I mean, BLG, yes, they are setting the pace. They are on fire here. They're the ones calling these plays, and it's 2 Dragons. Not as early as last game. I mean, last game was an insanely early Dragon Soul, but still fairly a quick pace for them.
Well, this is the ridiculous thing, is the fact that I haven't seen HLE get this out-tempoed at all. Apart from maybe the LCK Cup, but they were barely even in that tournament.
To be fair, they have 2 of the mid laners that are the most mobile when it comes to map movement, right? Which is definitely helping out a smidge, because even as HLE went for that top play, Viper was mid and just started walking top lane, which meant they had to cut it off. Now you get Gumayushi, who's Realm Warped on, and Shun, excellent flash kick to set up the kill there.
Beautiful stuff there. The synergy on display. They get the Realm War pick, and then they're defending Viper here. Shun is on a ward, so he's sitting in the sitting there and defending. Now go again.
Yeah, Zeus going to try and leap his way away. Kanavi for the defense. Delight going to be showing up as well. On obviously is right here as well, as the Rift Herald will be given on over, or at least forced to reset. HLE, they need to say goodbye to Zeus, but there's a deadly flourish. That's the pickoff onto On, but he buys so much time. The curtains have been called now as the bullets fly. Delight should be answered though, and Shun so incredibly low, but is going to survive. Public execution is a little private this time, as HLE will back away, but BLG once again, it's them on the objective.
And it's the TP from Bin that gets the members from BLG into position to cover for the play, support for support, but objective control for BLG.
Yeah, they pick up the extra one. BLG had the option there. They're like, okay, we could just keep Bin split pushing, or we can start this playoff on as well, and they just see it. They get the extra objective on top of it, and the Rift Herald will allow them to crack the rest of this outer turrets. I mean, it's 2 turret plates on top and mid and only 1 on bottom, so they can one-shot that mid turret. Bin's gonna take care of the top turret here. The outer ring of defenses for HLE will fall very soon.
HLE want to try and make a play though. Shun trying to cover, but there's so many members. Zeus has to back away.
Kanavi's
It's a
going home.
sneak. Kanavi does not want to. Oh, he got
dear.
spotted.
Yeah, spotted on the Scryer's Bloom. Now looking to try and get himself out. Warrior Trickster comes through. Delight is going to try and defend. They want to save the monkey, and it looks like maybe they'll be successful. Flash out of the way of the solar flare here is Zeus with the counter strike and the leap strike trying to get himself out. But now Hextech ultimatum to
Shoot damage.
Knight, and On is the one
E Lisin tali je giga dobar kombo, iskreno.
grab that one, and Kanavi's even able to get out of there.
Shun kicked to try and save Knight, but end up saving Delight in the long run. It's a kill back. And Viper now a low mana needs to be careful, but Bin doing some damage in the top lane.
Yeah, it was a 4v5 play on the other side of the map. You're right. I mean, the instincts are there. Here we go.
Oh dear, more fighting is now Gumayushi down very, very low. Still able to walk it off. Didn't have his flash up just yet, but when the Realm Warp comes through, BLG always making those plays.
The instincts are there, and you don't really blame Shun, because you're like, okay, you're always thinking, I'm going to kick this Camille out of her ultimate as the counterplay. And then they didn't really count. They had that much damage. They could have just almost finished and burst instead, but they thought defensively first.
But now it's Dragon in 30 seconds and flash down, flash down, flash down, flash down. It is going to be a difficult fight for HLE if they try and take it. And it's BLG who are already out on the map first to try and look for it.
Yep, and Viper's flash will be available for the Infernal that is coming up. That is going to be Infernal Soul Point for BLG if they're able to lock that one down. Now Zeus could be in a little bit of trouble here, and by a little bit, I mean a lot. Solar Flare comes through. The layering of CC is perfect, and Knight is going to grab his second.
Just going to keep up this pressure on the top side. Delight trying to move in towards mid. Viper to cover is spotted, though, crucially.
And again, BLG make a topside play, but they're coming over. They're transitioning to defend the opposite side. Every time they're going to make a play and then still defend the cross map. They're not letting HLE make any of these trades.
Yeah, and Knight is even able to catch the wave in the bottom lane as well. Kanavi, I mean, the best you can hope for is a steal, but I don't think he's coming back from it. And that is going to be that. Soul Point picked up for BLG, a clean sweep of Dragons, and HLE are just behind the...
Nezgodno, baš im je nezgodno.
No trades allowed. They're going to keep him on the back foot and make them watch. Whole top side.
Dobro, fanje, mislim, on, kažem, nije ni bitno toliko preživio koliko samo da se tapuje njegovu ekipu.
That's just where you want it. You want those solo lanes on their 2-item power spikes, and they are going to be hitting Dagda.
And it's so hard to try and match now on the side lanes, because you have a Talia mid.
Ne znam da li ste vidjeli, sad mi pada na pamet Palvel šta je uradio sa patch notama. Izbacio 27 strana patch nota, a lik namjerno neće da izbaci do sutra. Znači legitimno troluje.
After that first blood, he's been able to make play after play on a killing spree right now on this Lee Sin. And it feels like such a lovely game to play Lee Sin, doesn't it? You've got Rune Prison, Solar Flare, Shield of Daybreak, even the Seismic Shove to move them into the right position.
And
man.
And you've got your mid laner realm warping you on their AD carry over and over. Yeah. It's like a delivery service right to Gumayushi's face.
The amount of convenience that BLG have had in this game has just been glorious.
It's very nice to just bring their own barrels to put the fish in, you know, just constantly over and over for Shun. And I think this is where, again, now you have this pressure of, hey, we're going to push mid, Shun's there, now we start to roam over towards these side lanes, and there's one turret plate on the tier 2. You have this Rift Herald to take the tier 1 in the mid lane, and now HLE trying to congregate on mass the mid. and it shuts down the potential for the 2v1 they were looking for in bot lane.
Exactly, and a bit of a herald right here, but it's going to be a very short one as Gumayushi is able to help Kanavi take that one down. Now Zeka moving towards his top side, throws the bear down, but Knight is so tanky. Those first 2 items have been put together. He is still going to respect the Annie as he does Realm Warp away. Impossible to interrupt without that passive stacked up. Zeka will hit level 13 at least, but he is still pretty far behind.
Yeah, the 1-3-1 is great from BLG. They keep up enough pressure towards mid and top side to get both towers using the Rift Herald here, making the escape. And I mean, I'm just thinking back to what you're talking about is, you know, Guma's like, well, I might as well die. It's like that SpongeBob meme where he just jumps in the grave. I see Realm Warping the Lee Sin onto my face. All right, great. Well, time to jump in the grave. But at least he was able to walk to his minion wave the second time around. We'll see if he is able to survive the next one as the play top side from BLG is looking pretty good.
Yeah, Weaver's Wall available here as well. There's the kickback onto Kanavi. Solar Flare going to connect onto Zeka, but only for the slow. Kanavi's still going to die though as Shun blocks that one down as Zeka flashes over the top, sidesteps very nicely, but he's still dead, ladies and gentlemen. Bin locks it down. BLG are just so mobile, and now they're able to move over to the Baron if they'd like it.
BLG are just everywhere in this game. And the big purple worm is only going to make things worse for HLE in keeping these towers safe.
I mean, we were saying during game number 1, all right, getting smashed in the first game doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to continue in the series and you're going to get smashed again. Well, you might not get smashed in the same way, but BLG still are just looking so much better.
And the
it
guy
feels pretty similar, to be honest.
And the guy you tried to shut down has nearly a 2,000 gold lead, now wants to pick up Delight to really make it that much worse.
Delight gonna flash away, but Zeus may not be as lucky as Bin moving towards the minion wave. Zeus fighting against On, feeling better about that one as Zekra is booking it towards his bottom side, throws down the bear, but Shun gets on in there. Delight finds a Hextech ultimatum. It's taking them at everything to take down Bin.
Zeus je fajn, mislim da radio dosta posla, ali nebitno. Mislim da će možda moći da uradi nešto. I Guma nema šanse, kao Jhin u ovom delu partije. Jako sam navio da Viper bude beskoristan, ne zato što ne volim BLG, nego zato što stvarno ne volim Taliju.
HLE, I think it's all about whether they can also get themselves a reverse sweep.
It's looking that way.
It is not over just yet as Gumayushi's going to have to flash and use everything to get out of the way of the Weaver's Wall.
Viper wanted to add one to himself there, but not quite able to do so. As BLG, I mean, this is so impressive. This is the BLG that we got to see domestically that people were questioning in playoffs, but it has finally made it to Deja.
All right, let's take a look at this one. They attack the side lanes first. On and Bin are here early, and then the teleport at the arrival of Shun goes for the kickback play onto Zeus. Bin survives for a long time, as you pointed out, Dagda, even inside the Hextech ultimatum, that they overreach for him and they can't get back after extending this deep.
And there's the Realm Warp to help just jump onto Zeka's head. This Rise is so tanky. Viper on the side. And even though it may be in Korea,
Ne, ovo je baš je strašno, iskreno, baš ih ubiše. Baš ih ubiše. Ovo je blago neprijatno ako navijate za Hanvu.
I mean, the coaching staff celebrating early, but I would say actually it's not even early. I'd say it's right on time.
Yeah. I think they need to do the celebrating now because they might just plan on how to do this in the next game very soon as well. As Viper getting out of the way of Zeus the best he can. Kanavi trying to cyclone his way to safety, but everyone is getting attacked from every angle possible. And Zeus is just like, well, get me the heck out of here. Viper knows exactly where he is, throws him towards Knight. The gift that keeps on giving is BLG. They're the Harlem Globetrotters today.
It's absolutely insane. There is no keeping up with this team right now for Hanwha Life. And honestly, like, this is...
Viper is everywhere. Like, wasn't he just top lane? What is he doing down here?
You've got
they're catching him between the turrets in the mid lane. Zeka gonna get thrown back, delivered to Bin. Oh my goodness, that looks like a strategy people use in Co-op vs. AI.
I mean, this is crazy, Atlas. The BLG are making the #1 LCK team actually look like bots.
Yeah, like they just cannot respond in time. This is unbelievable. from BLG. They're now looking for this inhibitor turret in the mid lane. They're realm warping to the top lane. They are attacking every single front. And HLE just don't even really know where they're getting hit anymore. The solar flare going to connect onto Gumayushi. He's backing away. And at least they know that when the Nexus turrets are under fire, that is all that BLG are going to be hitting. And so they can be in the area for it.
But you've got Zonya's, Seeker's Arm Guard, GA for BLG. You don't have to do it once, you got to do it twice to find the magic for HLE, and Bin is fishing.
Well, Zeus looking to see whether he can at least stay alive against this, but On is moving over. There's the counter-strike. Viper in a little bit of trouble. As Zeus trying to keep himself alive. Kanavi is going to be able to get out of there. The question is, can anyone else? His Delight is basically dead to start this one off. He does manage to get Viper in the back line, but that is all he's going to be able to claim. The last shot from Guma doesn't do anything at all, and he's desperately trying to defend. 2 inhibitors down at 27 minutes, and BLG, they'll just go back and spend their hordes of gold.
And HLE, they're probably already... Wait a second.
Yeah, Knight in a little bit of trouble, perhaps, as Kanavi gets over there. Doesn't waste any time, uses the Cyclone immediately. There's the double knock-up to come on through, but Knight just kills him.
Yeah, Knight's never alone, it seems like, this game. He is forever having someone there to help him.
I think even if he was alone, I mean, he was a 606
level 17, big shield, big damage.
Yeah, ready to actualize.
Fellas, it's time to start talking about the conspiracy theories.
Okay, all right, what's this? Are we putting the tinfoil hat on?
Because HLE, this whole tournament, you know, they've been focused on 3-0s and showing as little as possible in their stage time.
Yes,
and this is a double elimination, you know, tournament, so...
Got it.
They're looking to just get out of this series as quickly as possible, question mark? Like, what in the heck?
Do they know that they will have to then do this again?
Yeah.
If they do manage to get round through the
And also, sure, BLG have shown a loss, but like...
I mean,
there's
actually,
so much they've shown, I don't even think it matters.
I think it makes it worse. They've shown that they're just way better.
Everything.
This is actually insane that it is stomping this heavily 2 games in a row. I mean, we could say, don't be a Game 1 Andy as much as we want.
Don't we? Game 2. Game 1 Andy. I can't say it, actually.
Don't be a Game 2 Billy. What happens if Game 3 is
Game 3 Hanna se vraća sve lagano. Rence verovatno u nedelju, samo ne znam još gde šta ćemo radimo iskreno. Kapiram da će biti neko kraće druženje. Ali iskreno ne znam ni gde. Meni se svidela opcija tipa Picado Belier, tako nešto, ne znam da li ima negde u centru da bude malo bliže svima, da ne bude baš skroz vamo.
I mean, the question is, what's the quickest 3-0 we've had at this event? Because BLG are looking like they want to break us.
My goodness. I've got some whiplash. I'm going to solve that as we throw.
Nadam se ste spremni za reverse sweep. Tako da, da, ovdje je samo 2-0, ali Hanna ga vraća. It's okay. To malo da bude neizvesno, ništa se ne brinite. Ovo je i dalje pod totalnom kontrolom korejske ekipe. Možda zvuči kao da ne verujem u to, ali... 3-2 serija ako sam ikad video jednu. Ja vama da kažem.
You know what? I'm just going to start immediately by something that Emily has been talking about non-stop in our HyperX Reflex replay. Shun and On.
Yeah, I mean, these two are going to be the two that set the early tempo. As soon as Zeka face checks this brush, Shun and On are just already there. I didn't actually know it was going to be
the crazy thing, though, was he literally just saw the mid lane kill his Timbers and then face check them.
I think the big thing is, even with, like, okay, that was a play with Knight, right? We saw the Talia flick back. But Shun and On are always, at least one of them, if not both of them, are always at the scene of the crime. And this is why...
Pa dobro, gledaj, ću vidi, nama je svako play od tipa lupam, ono, sat vremena da se zabodemo negdje i to je to, nećemo dugo ostajati. Tako da realno se nađemo u 3, mi zablejimo sat vremena, ti si do 4 free produžiš na rođendan. Mislim da je to
deal with Viper, I want to take a look at the draft because I thought that they had some really clever drafting.
Mislim da je to okej, ne?
It didn't really become that relevant because the game was such a stomp, but Camille has been kind of the support of the tournament. And I thought what they did in draft was actually so clever. So obviously they're hiding, you know, what is going to be their bot lane. We're kind of expecting, hey, it's maybe just mages versus mages bot. The Camille gets early picked. I was thinking that they might have been going to be banning Mel or something along those lines. Didn't matter. Comes out with a Jhin. But instead of picking to actually kill the AD carry, they're picking to kill the support. You go Leona, one of the tankiest early game supports in the entire game, and you're combining it with the Talia. Has not only the seismic shove out of the stun, but if you ever hookshot in aggressively, Unraveled Earth comes out, you're going to be stunned, you're going to be killed, and it's so easy to focus down this Camille who's so reliant on having gold and levels to be survivable, something he can't get in a lane where you can't be active. And we can run through a couple of these kills. I mean, again, it's not exactly illustrating the point because the game got super out of hand, but it is really something that was just a denial play. He can never actually get aggressive. He could never find windows to actually look and start fights as he wanted to, because as soon as the Camille goes in, seismic shove, stunned up, burst
Pa
down.
to, tipa od 3 do 4, ja se zabodemo, samo ramišljam.
We saw Delight was only ever even looking for something with Flash, because the only way in is Flash.
Koji nam je najbolji ugao.
Not really go for any hook shots to start plays.
And the big thing to me is that Viper is one of the few AD carry players, or bot lane players, we should say, that you can do this with, right? That's why I made the meme sign, the return of the awesome dude meta, because he is willing to play anything in this bot lane.
And it's so interesting because you look at what
Idemo na stoni tenis sat vremena. Ne znam koliko možemo da odigramo za sat vremena, ali dobro, možemo i da ostanemo pola sata duže, šta god. Možda to nije loša ideja. To nismo radili još. A? Ogrom, mislim veliko, ima dosta prostora. Sat vremena, sat i malo se ispred. Ništa drugo nisam ni očekivao tebe, Klaus.
I'm incredibly impressed with how they've come out today. I'm pretty
Ćemo posle zajedno.
disappointed in what we've seen from HLE and Zeka specifically so far today, but the games have kind of felt like they've been over within the first 8 minutes with how good BLG's been snowballing.
I agree. HLE in this tournament so far, they steamrolled everyone they were up against, and I think this is something we'll have to carry into Game 3 as well. Coaching staff, right? BLG just feel like a bit of a more of a complete team than we've seen of them in the past. Shout out to Denny, for instance, because of these draft adaptations. If this is thrown into the mix as well, this might as
Ništa, pauzica 10. Ja nešto tamo da isproveravam, tu sam, tako da vidimo se brzo u Game 3.
So two things that we have never seen happen will have to happen if this is not going to be a BLG win.
We had a couple of crazy moments here at MSI so far. Let's see if this is another one or if BLG closed the door in Game 3.
The human body was built to move, not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Times like this are where star players shine and new legends step up, where legacies are built and dreams are either realized or ripped apart. He still doesn't die! You cannot step the Vega and expect to live to talk about tomorrow! He dropped it well as the Arcane Storm doing so much work in Gen G! They are just going to ace them!
Red Bull gives you wings. Bull gives you wings.
Tired of the off-season blues once Worlds is over? Fear not, because League of Legends is coming to the very first Esports Nations Cup, where players split from their clubs and compete for national pride. Will China test every limit imaginable? Will South Korea turn every game into a macro masterclass? Will EU and NA actually play in the correct lanes? The final event of the year is not to be missed. Esports Nations Cup 2026. See you in Riyadh.
이 세트 팬 여러분들에게 에너지를 드리기 위해서 다시 팬 이벤트를 하러 나온 전화 아나운서 배혜지입니다. 자, 이번에는 팬 여러분들에게 가위바위보 게임을 준비했는데요. 자, 지금 BLG가 2대 0으로 앞서 나가고 있는 상황에서 BLG 팬분 4분과 하나생명 팬분 4분이서 가위바위보 대결을 해보겠습니다. 하나생명 팬분들 자신 있으시죠? BLG 자신 있어요? 좋습니다. 그럼 가위바위보 한번 해보도록 하겠습니다. 먼저 맨 앞에 계신 두 분이서 가위바위보 해주시기 바랍니다. 시타오, 젠다오프, 오케이? 1, 2, 3, 가위바위보! 하나생명 승리했습니다. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 가위바위보! 하나생명이 2대 0으로 앞서가고 있습니다. 자, 다음 가보겠습니다. 시타오, 젠다오프! 오, BLG 승리! 자, 그럼 마지막 가위바위보 가보겠습니다. 가위바위보! 자, 하나생명이 승리를 했습니다. 하나생명에게 티셔츠 드리도록 하겠습니다. 축하드립니다! 오렌지들 소리 질러! 자, 그리고 지금 팬 여러분들 좌석 밑에 한번 확인해 보시기 바랍니다. 행운의 좌석이 있는데요. 누군가의 자리에는 특별한 선물이 붙어 있습니다. 자, 여러분 좌석을 체크해 주시기 바랍니다. BLG 짜요! BLG 짜요! BLG를 한번 응원해주는 팬분들이 있었는데요. 자, 행운의 좌석 됐나요? 자, 한번 좌석을 확인해 주시기 바랍니다. 축하드립니다! 행운의 자리에는 이렇게 선물이 있기 때문에 여러분 자리 꼭 한 번씩 확인해 보시기 바랍니다. 자, 그렇다면 하나생명과 BLG 한번 응원을 해봐야겠죠. BLG 먼저 응원해볼까요? BLG 짜요! 좋습니다. 자, 그럼 오렌지들 하나생명도 응원해보겠습니다. 하나, 둘, 셋. 하나생명 화이팅! 3세트 달려가시죠!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. MSI 2026. In case you missed it, because it's been a couple of blinks since this series
We've been
started.
here a long time. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, yes. It's been a
really hard.
slugfest. They've been very close games.
Yeah.
BLG.
And that was just makeup.
Yeah.
The slugfest.
BLG kind of just scraped HLE off their boot twice in a row, and now we're here at match point. And I don't know, man. It feels like this golden road will not stop here. From what we have seen thus far. Obviously, it is not the final of MSI just yet, but it might be a sneak preview of what we could be seeing there as BLG just looking so dominant.
Yeah, the problem is though, like, I'm actually slightly worried that if BLG do just hard 3-0 this, that suddenly they get way too much confidence like they did against WE domestically.
The complacency vibe.
Yeah. I always get a little nervous with this team. Yeah.
More conspiracy theories. I
love that.
It's all part of the strategy.
I feel like top esports may have hurt you, Rob. It's okay. It's okay. They cannot hurt you anymore.
No, they will. I know.
This tournament. So you cut me off. You know, I couldn't finish the sentence. HLE, though, very capable of hurting me. further. And there is one more game to do so. This has just been... I mean, I was kind of expecting that if HLE were going to win this series, it would look similar to this. Unfortunately, on the other side for them. And it has just not been the way. They need to wake up.
Yeah, I mean, at least for them, always a second chance, right? This is not the elimination series, this is the upper bracket finals, so they will end up dropping down facing the winner of G2 or Line, whoever comes out of that tomorrow. But for them, I think they would like to do a lot of the legwork today if they could manage it, but there's still a lot to do as you're down 2-0 in this series.
Yeah, I think HLE would like to play a little bit more League of Legends than the short games that they've had already available to them. Let's see if BLG let them, because it does feel like it is up to BLG whether HLE are going to be able to enter this series or not.
And it's once again a blue side pick here for HLE, even in the very final game potentially of this series. They need to make it work.
Ajmo da vidimo.
Let's see whether he's actually got a plan here. Of course, spent an incredibly long time in the LPL. Kanavi, there in the LPL as well. I mean, there is a lot of experience understanding how this league works on this HLE roster, and a lot of experience with a lot of the players that are on BLG as well. They just have not been able to keep up the pace. I think there's some sort of whiplash here between these two squads where HLE are like, oh wait, this is what it's like in the LPL actually, where a lot of these players do have a lot of that experience.
Yeah, I mean, Kanavi spent like 6 years in the LPL, and he has a very, good winning record versus Shun individually from his time there, but not on his time here in Daejeon.
Yeah, and then Shun had to try and fill Kanavi's shoes when Kanavi left JDG, then ended up coming over towards BLG after all the shenanigans they had last year with their jungler. But Shun selling in nicely, being able to support the solo lanes. But that has not been the story of today. It has been more about BLG and specifically on working with Shun on the invades, shutting down Kanavi, and making sure Kanavi cannot play his game.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing that I've loved so much about how BLG have looked this series is how in sync they are.
Yeah.
The layering of CC, everybody being there on really good timers for the skirmishes, everyone on the same plan as far as defending the plays, cross-map plays, not letting your opponent get anything while you have the lead. When they have the lead...
Vidi, ja ne znam ja ništa tu, samo da se ogradim odmah. Klara je zadužena za sve te poene, ja prisutan samo, hvala.
Oh, it's really alive and well. This is another flex pick. This could be the bottom lane.
It very well could.
Okay, well, the Lucian is going to be locked in. This is when...
Šta više, ja ne znam ni kako se to radi.
I want to win the
game.
I don't know whether he's going to be allowed to. Delight is now on the Melio duty as well. Not necessarily his wheelhouse, although he has had some good games on the champion.
And I have liked the games where we've seen Lucian Melio to try and punish the Mel lanes, regardless of what Mel does get put with. So, if you're going to do that, though, you have to play to that lane. Play to the bottom lane so that Lucian can do those trades onto Mel, can continually dash in, and keep that passive uptime.
Jesam.
I want to see if they can actually get jungle under control.
Opet Mel botlane, opet magevi.
And play to the Lucian Melio.
I don't think it's going to be used into the Lucian Melio, but just put it out there.
Kakvo razočarenje.
So it could also be the flex of the Skarner down into that bottom side as well. So options here still for BLG. And I do think you kind of want something though that can still get out onto the map, because that's mostly where BLG have been able to find the success.
Ne, Seraphine Ash je izgubilo prioritet zašto magevi rade dobro u Seraphine Ash.
Different angles and make things very uncomfortable for the likes of a Victor in that mid lane.
Yeah, and I'm kind of assuming that maybe the Renekton could be played by Viper as well. Like, at this point, everything is on the table. The Caitlyn is going to be taken away, though. They do not believe that this Mel is definitely going into the bottom lane. Yeah. Knight could obviously be playing that. But we do expect that the Mel is likely to be used there towards that bottom side. But a pivot away from the matchup could be a good idea, so eliminating some of those better options.
Yeah, I mean, with the prevalence of flexing everything around, you don't want to get hit all of a sudden with a Caitlyn, Elise combination or something from Viper on. And that would just be brutal. Let's take a look, though, what else they're worried about to cover on their side. I mean... The Mel is pretty good for mid lane too into Victor, so that's why they're really covering bottom lane. They don't want to deal with a hyperscale combination either. The Zeri Lulu has been on display already. by Pays quite heavily at this tournament, and so take out the Lulu half of it where she pairs with just so many other better AD carries too.
Also, we've seen like Cog Lulu sometimes as an answer into the Lucian Emilio. BLG had a great performance on that actually domestically in the playoffs as well. So looks like On gonna get his hands on Rakan. So literally called the handsome support because of how good he looks on this pick. So definitely a massive pick for On. I mean, I'll have to see if he's going to be able to find that same kind of roam timers that we talked about for.
Can be a difficult thing to make work into something like a Victor with so much
Rakan Mel.
We'll have to see how this one is going to be evened out, as the Aatrox is an interesting one. I had that Kanavi game in my head, seeing whether they could find a way to springboard themselves back into this series with a good performance. The Skarner, though, is going to be the lock-in here for Kanavi.
I mean, we saw T1 do exactly this.
Did I say Skarner's the Trundle?
Because, I mean, Shun is a Kindred player, and we already just said, hey, we've already got that Skarner potential flex. This is what happened with T1 where they got cut out before.
So where are they flexing it, though? Yeah, that's the question. So the Zaya is coming in. I was thinking maybe Viper was going to play Skarner this time.
Ne igraju AD carry uopšte, ništa ih ne zanima.
Right there with you. But no, not going to be the case. We are going to have the Lovers Duo there towards the bottom side of the map.
And then with the Mundo lock-in, I mean, Zeus solo killed Pun with this matchup. With the Mundo into the Renegade with the surprise reset on him.
Yeah.
And Pun was pretty good this tournament, so we'll see. Bindo, different monster. And I have to say, I think that Bin with pushing, priority on that lane, with Mel gonna have priority early on in that lane as well. I think this is another pretty good setup for BLG.
I think if Hallmark can slow the game down, though, there is so much scaling on their side. Like, with the Mundo, with the Victor in the mid lane, that Trundle going to be able to steal away a ton of stats from the Skarner. So I think for Hanwha, it is once more going to be a case of, can you shut down the early game?
Yeah, we'll see whether they can actually make that happen. I think if HLE can find a way to keep up with BLG, that might allow them to stay alive in this series. And honestly, with the amount of picks that have been fearlessly taken away that are so high on the tier list, I am very interested in what these drafts are going to look like moving further forward. That being said, getting way ahead of myself because HLE need to wake up and actually start dictating the pace in some of these games as we get onto the Rift for potentially the final time this series.
Kajmo da imamo, da li je finalni game ili nije?
The crowd doing their best to wake him up, Atlas.
Yeah, and they've been yelling even throughout the entire break. We saw Heji there as well, trying to rile them up. The Dio's coming through as well. HLE, let's see whether they've finally had enough time to get into gear here. And the Trundle of Kanavi is something that he's found a lot of success on in the LCK as well. So something that he
Trundle Skarnera bi trebao da bude također relativno okej.
On something that is a little bit more on the back foot, at least very early on.
Yeah, and we have exhaust on the Zaya here for Viper too. Try and deal with this Melio.
That immediate exhaust here in this bottom lane. I don't know whether it was the right move, but it's more valuable to put things on cooldown as quickly as possible so that you can potentially use them more per game.
Yeah. I see what you're selling.
I was just going to let that one sit.
The trade didn't really look that great anyway, but I like the salesman. Atlas here as facing his team getting demolished.
I flash out a fountain, by the way.
Yeah, I love
to
that.
get to the lane.
Hey, League Classic is coming back. You can get your extra 5 AD with your Ignite early.
Oh, exactly. I'm lighting the Wraith on fire my way through. That's precisely what's going to be happening. At least I think the Wraith is still going to be the man. Do you even remember that, Kent? The Grump before Grump.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we do have...
Invade. We got an invade, buddy. Trundle. Gonna go try and use the early dueling power. He does start up the blue early here, and they see the ward go down, so here comes the chase.
Yeah, level 3 for both of these junglers. There is the kennel thrown down, and Kanavi gets the chomp onto the Skarner. It's gonna be a battle for these wolves, and it's won by Kanavi this time.
Kanavi didn't even have the smite. Shun just missed time in that, so Kanavi ended up to get the majority of the camp, which is very nice for the Trundle.
The defense as well from HLE. It feels like the first time that they were ahead of the play.
And what were we asking for in Champ Select, Atlas? It is to get jungle, play for bottom side. They do that. They get winning jungle, they play for bottom side. It's a much better, different story for HLE, for Kanavi. And on the opposite side, of course, you know, Shun goes into countermeasures there, and he at least is going to be able to take away the enemy blue quadrant.
Yeah, I'm taking a lot of damage on the bot side though. That feather pull from Viper not actually connecting onto Gumayushi. So now on, only just ticking over to level 3. I have to play a little bit more defensive on this model, especially with Kanavi there. I'm a little nervous, but looks like Kanavi just gonna walk his way through mid lane and see if he can match the Skarner on this topside crab.
Yeah. 22 minutes and 5 seconds, the time to beat here for BLG to enter the top 5 fastest best of 5s of all time.
Okay, that would be insanely fast.
Yeah, 16-19. Oh wow, that number, that really does not make me happy. It's never mind. Gumayushi going to be able to dash out of the way of the grand entrance. Nicely played here. Looks like his Lucian.
Bilo bi fora da BLG izgubi, zašto nemaju međa na botu sad?
See whether it's going to continue as it's still very early days.
And I want to highlight how good of a defense there it was from Kanavi. He crossed back to the other side, chases away.
Iskreno video bi ovaj smiješnu stranu toga.
Never mind, Knight could be in a bit of trouble as he's forced to flash out of the way of that Canon. Zeka putting down a great gravity field to force it.
Yeah, still HLE putting a lot of pressure down. I don't know.
Ja, realno Guma igra dosta clean u...
She's taking a lot of damage, Dacta. That's what's happening as Viper is also going to follow suit. HLE just trying to get this minion wave shoved in and they will do so.
U Viper ovaj game.
Yeah, I mean, BLG struggling now when it gets back towards the AD carries. Like, we've seen BLG really cooking. You got to see that on the side of your screens with, like, the Swain, the Vel'Koz, the Talia in the last game. But now with this Lucian melee, Viper and On not looking so hot when it comes towards the 2v2.
So as soon as it's a normal lane, they don't know what they're doing.
Well, this was the thing, right? I do think that like the speciality of On has been getting out of the lane and interacting in the map, right? And we've seen in years past when it comes to 2v2, On is still very good, but like when it came towards matching like Gumayushi and Keria, now matching up with Gumayushi and Delight, like it is not as simple as a time from, especially given the matchup. So I do think for HLE, this is where they can find that success by putting that pressure on.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would have been confused by the Victor first pick as well. We didn't really go into it. Zeka has been really, really good on this champion. It's something that I think Showmaker really started to make look kind of broken in the LCK earlier on this year. And Zeka did manage to find some great angles with it as well. So you might be looking at it going, that's not a Sylas or an Akali, but he has been doing well on this pick.
Yeah, I like how he's like fully assimilated to control mages, to have the options. And it's so nice. You've got pushing mid and pushing bottom this time for Kanavi. And I am very jungle pilled, yes, I know, but this is so good for Trundle.
And it's good for the bottom lane as well, forcing that.
Klara treba da zaključa bet, da, samo što to kad se vrati za komp, tako da imate više vremena ovaj game.
Wait a second, the collapse coming from BLG. They want to scrap this one out.
Yeah, the flash over from Kanavi is Knight trying to get out of there, does find the Solar Snare as Gumayushi, he wants to turn his attention to the mid laner of BLG. First blood as the chomp comes down.
Ide Hanva, ide Hanva.
To get out of there. This is the pace we were hoping to see from HLE, and I guess it's better late than never.
And this is the Kanavi you wanted to see.
Lako kad ne igraš u međa na botu, očigledno.
They are expecting it. He flashes immediately over. They take him down and they might not even be done yet. They got Scuttle Crab as well. Full dragon control is theirs. The ward seeing everything. HLE retaking control. Well, actually, just taking control for the first time this series.
Yeah, Viper now in a little bit of trouble here as well towards this bottom side, taking 50% of his health bar on as well. Able to utilize the Gleaming Quill for some extra healing, but Kanavi just comes on over, takes some King's Tribute as well there towards the bottom side, and is now looking to start the Drake.
He's burning Summoner as well as in the bottom side, punishing the fact that Knight didn't have that flash, and now starting up the Dragon. It looks like Shun going to try and trade this for presence on that top half of the map instead, because he is hurting for some gold right now.
Yeah, 55 to 36 in the jungle is kind of ridiculous. Is Gumayushi going to push on away? And so that will be what feels like the first Drake for HLE this series, is it? I think they did just sweep souls in both of the first 2 games. So there's their first one. HLE have realized that there are neutral objectives on the bottom side of the map.
Definitely worth being said, though, of course, been performing really well on the Renekton here. Has the lone lead for BLG, has the push consistently into that top matchup as should be, and provides a little bit of space.
Yeah, Cullen going to be thrown out towards Viper there, on with the battle dance. Going to join him, takes a little bit. Viper not looking too worried about the situation.
You can see, though, again, Kanavi taking this jungle camp thread on the bottom side, going to move over towards Krugs, and then potentially cover this bot lane as well, which you've already got Zeka moving too. I think HLE want more.
Well, there's the exhaust onto Gumayushi at the beginning of this one. They spot Zeka moving down. Great ward in the Pixel Brush has got them a lot of information so far this game. But the fact that Zeka can finally leave the lane, this is a very different game from the first two.
It certainly is. I mean, we're going to go way out there and say this game's going to be the longest one of the series so far.
Whoa, you are so
Ne samo da će biti najduži game serije, nego će Hanva da pobedi. Lara se vratila, tako da rip glasanje za vas.
BLG, you know, they still have plenty of options to themselves, but as you're
I
highlighting
zaključala
earlier,
glasanje.
this is much more of a focused area for HLE to be able to play off. Zeus up here is just scaling on Mundo, trying not to give up too much on the top side of the map. Kanavi actually does have Delight trailing, so he can start these up, and since he's so far ahead of Shun, he can just force objective after objective.
We'll be able to take that first little grub. Zeka moving over here as well as Delight in position. He's on the Melio, not necessarily going to be starting off any fights. They do get control of the Banana Brush though, but now Bin is moving in. Grand Entrance is going to come down as On is in a lot of trouble, but the Mundo is able to get on top of Shun. The Kennel goes down, Shun just having to get himself out of there. Zeus dealing with the rest of them. The quickness comes through. Canon make something happen here. The answer's no as Zeka locks down the Scorpion. The Crocodile running for the hills. And another briefcase will come on down. Kanavi distracted by a camp in the meantime. Viper is fighting Goomer and there he sweeps him up with the feather recall. And it's a solo for Viper in the bottom lane.
Ovo je big što je Viper našao solo kill.
Happen on the top side, but Viper punishing the fact that Guma couldn't get his reset on the bottom side of the map, manages to answer one back.
The Blade Caller flash reposition to finish it off. As you say though, they did receive some defeats on the top side. Shun here used the ultimate on Skarner, whiffs that one, not able to get anybody, and drops immediately. So let's take a look at it. They're respecting Bin's move down from the top side, so they pull back off, and then Zeus just moves right up into the team. Shun there, sit and duck, even though he tries to flash out, just gets walked down by the Trundle.
Also having the heal from Delight to speed him up. On trying to move towards mid to get that ultimate so then he can help out, but still HLE very strong. But Viper here, so Gumayushi, when we had Zeka move down towards that bottom side, Gumayushi wanted to look for the reset. He couldn't actually get it off because he was trying to help out with Zeka, which means that Viper punished incredibly well, flashing to connect with the feathers, getting some plates, and suddenly what was a CS and a gold lead for Gumayushi, Viper now has access to.
Really nice geometry performance there as well to make sure that feather did manage to pick him up. As now Zeus hits towards the top side, just going to be eating his potions. And will be able to push Bin away. And I feel like this is one of these matchups that just gets more and more annoying for the Renekton. At the beginning, you're like, yeah, I'm winning. It's great, it's great, it's great. And then I'm winning less, I'm winning less, I'm winning less. Why isn't he taking damage? This is annoying. And then the Mundo just does anything he wants.
He pushes.
He does.
Pushes. and he continues.
He throws paperwork at you, and you're like, I just want to do more paperwork, boss. All right, well, Delight and On, just some supportal combat here, but not exactly the end of the world as far as damage potential. It's not quite Camille versus Pike or anything like that. So Gumayushi parking himself up here, and Kanavi getting a little bit of damage himself. Another exhaust comes down. Featherstorm for the damage. Gumayushi tries to keep himself alive and fails at the task. And Viper will kill him a second time.
That's even with Delight's heal and ultimate. Viper punishing with that one-item spike beautifully there.
Exactly. He already had the Essence Reaver. Guma gets to buy his while he's dead, back in base now. But that is too late. On and Viper have already done the deed. Another kill for Viper Zaya.
And he's now 800 gold ahead. Kanavi was leading by 1.1k, still is, right? He is a huge advantage here for HLE, but the Zaya's carry potential later on in the game is kind of absurd.
It will be a different look for BLG though. They've been traditionally about Knight and Bin, and even Daney said in some of those chats behind the scenes, look, you can't all be superstars on this team. Someone has to take a step back, and for most of the split, it was Viper who did it. Now it has to be Viper who steps up.
Well, I think he can. Having, you know, watched Viper previously.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I think he's capable of making that happen.
Solid Viper, solid Viper.
Teams with a lot of chefs.
Guma flanking from bottom side. Lucian down here is disconnected from the rest of HLE. He's going to take a while to walk over.
Death Ray comes down. Knight able to avoid that. This mountain.
On igra lepo, on, kažem, mnogo lepo igra cijelu seriju.
As far as the Dragon is concerned, this ward down to 50%, but spots Guma on his way over. And now, might be HLE's turn to make something happen. Never mind, Smite comes through, Sean able to lock that one down, and they even out the Drakes. Chemtech again, but God, there's a Mundo on this team, and a Trundle? Okay, it's a Chemtech day for the HLE roster.
Yeah, and I mean, they're kind of staring him down as...
A little bit early on the Ixtal's impact there for Shun.
HLE are kind of staring him down, but it's so hard to steal against Skarner, especially when Skarner has the inside route on you like that, because you can just throw out the ultimate. And so they're respecting On and Knight's presence there, not walking up, nobody actually going to fall in the play, and just seed the extra dragon.
Right, Zeus chasing after Bin, or has been chasing after Zeus. I think it's Zeus chasing after Bin at the moment. Kanavi's moving up. Dominus is there, but I don't know whether Bin's going to be able to survive this one. Slices and dices, creates some space, and in comes the Skarner as well, but Zeus flashes on top of the Crocodile. Kanavi held in position and taken out as Knight looking to try and answer the play as well. On gets over here. Zeus doesn't look too worried about it just yet. Zeka's moved up, and Delight is now over the wall, able to support his Mundo, who just wanders his way down.
On had the quickness, but didn't want to pop it until he knew, but Viper getting some back rubs off of Gumayushi, but yeah, the quickness, they didn't want to use it until they had members from BLG in position. Still Zeus able to step away from that top side after the kill. Very good for that Mundo.
Ovo je onaj deo da ga Han vrati, jel tako? Čisto proveravam.
Zeka, really nice sidestep there, is now On having to battle dance his way away, and Zeka is not afraid. The sidesteps on this man are looking fantastic. The Arcane Storm, he's ignoring the Rakan completely. Throws circles down, he's doing some Venn diagrams, but there is no Rakan included in that as Delight moves up, and HLE going to look to grab some plates.
And this has got to be the biggest difference in this game. Zeka here, he had been getting gapped by Knight in the previous games, but this game has been all Zeka. And the Victor is going to be able to get the push. They're going to be able to get this second tower actually for themselves, because they already took mid lane one down, and add another one to their collection.
And now it's almost like 2.5k gold, the advantage for HLE. They are doing their very best to perform the same kind of snowball that BLG have been doing to them all day long.
And this is what we talked about for HLE as well. Like, they have a composition that scales incredibly into the later portion of the game. Zeus, with a very early heart steal, may even try and stack it on Viper here.
Yeah, he doesn't have Featherstorm available. He does have the exhaust, but Mundo is not tired. Zeus is just walking him down, immune to the CC and the backhand, or the back briefcase, if you will, as he takes him out.
He just slowly walked up and down smashed Viper.
It looked so gentlemanly as well when he did it. Just flung it through the airs. Okay, there's the grand entrance. The quickness comes down as well. Impaled. Zeus, has he noticed yet? That's my question. On now looking to fight Delight because he knows he cannot fight this Mundo. He's got his special brew running. Does now wear off at least, but BLG are pushed away from the turret.
Well, maybe we're going to have to, like, take a poll or something. What is actually the biggest difference this game? Is it Kanavi having the better jungle early on? Is it Zeka actually not getting gapped by Knight? Or is it Zeus on this Mundo?
Well, there's a teleport in. The Mundo is up here one more time. It's Kanavi. He is not going down to this one. The slice, the dice. Is the kennel going to be available? The flash comes.
Stiže ga, ima W, ne može da otrana štranda na toko velikoj distanci.
And BLG are going to have to run away from the bottom turret as well. HLE are turning that tempo all the way around.
HLE, their G3 reports are going to be all profits. It looks like in this one.
I'm getting a flashback. I have the plan. I understand. Their biggest problem around this time of year was getting reverse swept and then not being able to play the game. They've realized, wait, we have to lose the first couple of games. We're going to be sorted out if we manage to figure it out after that. And they are making it work, at least here in game number 3.
Maybe inform them that you only need to lose one in order to not get reverse swept next time.
And also, they could have just won the series in a normal way. You're exactly right.
But, I mean, yeah, the precedence has been set at this tournament for reverse sweep, so we will wait and see.
It also just shows how terrified it is giving either of these teams a lead.
Yeah.
Like, HLE have not taken their foot off the gas pedal since they got that early control with Kanavi and then gave it a lot more gold over towards Zeka. And now you're looking at turrets being taken across the board. That bot lane one is just about to fall. And Zeus, like, when he finishes this Warmogs, I think basically completes everything he needs at this stage. So for HLE, they're now invading Shun. He doesn't get to enjoy his jungle anymore.
Nope, Kanavi gets to enjoy his jungle instead, comes on over and bites the Gromp, and will be able to take that one down. 150 to 117, but 1.6k the advantage as HLE looking for double dragon. And as these Chemtech Drakes get stacked up, the closer to immortality Zeus and Kanavi get, if they're not there already, it's gonna get kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of feel bad for Viper this game because, you know, he's got some, 1v1s and 2v2 kills.
Yeah, Danny's like, it's your turn to carry, Viper. Let's see how you go. If you do this, we'll let you do it again.
Yeah, and we've given you an immobile wall and an immobile wall to get through.
Oh, dear. Well, at least he does have the option of going over it, you know. Doesn't have to necessarily go through everything because he does have that Featherstorm available. Does have 2 items complete, but Gumyushi is right there with him. As we have a look at the Coinbase gold grind, Kanavi is very far ahead. That is basically what it's saying. He's been clearing out so many more camps.
Kanavi je baš jak, još s ovim pikom čovjek sam možda nosi. BLG je napravio krucijalnu grešku, nisu uzeli mage na botu.
HLE actually had answers to what were being presented by BLG in this game.
Yeah, even with
Kao nema drugo.
Possibility, they really called it as soon as they saw them, especially with their cover bands, and pushing will continue for Zeus. I actually just, all right, well, the invades will also continue.
Yeah, Kanavi just going to bite down onto On. Light is moving up here as well. He's got that fire kick as now Kanavi with Shelly over the wall. They're going to look to knock down this inner turret. They are keeping up the pace in this game. And Bin, let's see whether he can keep this turret alive. A charge is going to come through. He definitely cannot. Now, will the Dominus actually keep him alive? That's the question.
Dobro dali, Mundo je AD carry prvi 6 level. Stojiš preko pola linije i gađaš sekirama sve.
Viper is able to flash his way out. That is the smite to come through from Shun. Gets the impale over the base gate, and Kanavi will finally be shut down.
Kanavi was having a little bit too much.
Misle će ispasti iz mete, magevi. Moraju u nekom trenutku, samo ne znam kako će to Rio da uradi, tako da iskreno pitanje je koliko će dugo trebati Riotu.
Actually, I'm very close to killing Ben. Now I'm very close to killing anyone that's near me. And in the end,
Ja ne vidim kako balansiraju mageve na botu.
And it's nice for Viper to pick up another kill, but honestly, I don't think this really changes the game for HLE. Like, you just have those 2 items there for Zeus. You're able to just continue with this control on the top side. And it's not like there was any objectives here for BLG to pick up off the back of it. HLE, in fact, are the ones that are sitting around looking for picks.
Well, On is now potentially in some trouble, but does grand exit the situation here. Zeka, without the mobility of the Rakan, is not going to be able to chase after him. However, he does, and just walks around the red pit in order to get on top of him. Mega Cone available, so he feels very, very safe. And look at how far forward HLE are positioned. It is kind of absurd, making sure BLG has no access to their own jungle.
I mean, should we do like time trial comparisons? Because BLG ones were really quick, but
yeah, what was it? 22 minutes and 5 seconds. Yeah. That's what we're looking to beat. That's probably not happening.
And HLE also let them have a dragon.
Yeah. But now that they've got a taste for dragons, they're doing much better.
Is that why we asked all the players their favorite music? Because you need the music for the time trials, you know? If you don't have a banger in the racing game, it just doesn't quite go as hard, so.
True.
That is a good point. All right, Death Rays flowing on over. As the fire kick going to be able to delay Shun here. They are on the Baron, as we can see. Gumyushi taking a lot of damage from it as well. Relentlessly pursuing away. It's not necessarily how pursuing works, but he is going to have to go back, as Zeus is just in the bottom lane. BLG are trying to ignore it and hoping that the problem goes away. I think we've all had that sort of take.
Well, see, Zeus did ignore the problem, who was nice, and he did go away. So I think, yeah, it is kind of working the other way around.
That's true. Everyone's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Zeus is at the big power spike now. When you get that Warmogs on top of your Heartsteel, it gets really difficult to do anything on the map now for BLG because the
Da, ali ako nerfuješ AP iteme ti nerfaš i mid, a mislim da AP na midu ne trebaju da nerfuju. To je problem.
Pushing, and meanwhile the rest of the team will control all this vision around the Baron, and if you step in, then they will punish you.
But it's also because Zeus just gets to step up, tank all the damage from Knight and the tower, step away for a couple seconds and heal it all back up. as the wave comes and then do it again.
And then gets to buy Warden's Mail so that he can be more durable in the team fights, because it's Viper that has the task of trying to kill the Mundo. Zeka will take some damage from Knight here. This Mail, 2 items have been completed.
Jer ako tako nerfuju mage'eve, na botu ih niko neće igrati i onda će samo se igrati asasini na midu. I onda će biti samo full AD meta.
Has been able to keep up in levels somewhat. Here has Knight, hasn't been as much of the experience advantages that we've seen in the previous games outside of Kanavi here over Shun perhaps. But let's see, this game has slowed down, and I feel like that definitely benefits BLG. Even if HLE have a composition that scales beautifully, I think BLG needs some time to breathe in this one. As Zeus does about 1 trillion damage to the inhibitor turret.
And now let's wait for the Warmogs to kick in as well, and he doesn't care anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think he cared to begin with. All right, he's going to be channeling the back. He's not doing that to heal. I think he's doing that to purchase. As Gumiyushi now looking to try and get some damage onto Shun. On comes over here, and the Canon is going to make sure that this Skarner cannot do anything about the red buff.
Yeah, I mean, I guess BLG are just going to full send it for the Dragon Soul fight, but HLE don't even have to full commit to that. They can just take the Baron if you commit your resources to going to try and contest that. It's just, the options are really off the table now for BLG.
The Spirit Visage is going to coincide with Chemtech Soul as well. I don't want to... I don't want to even comprehend
this is
what
like
this Mundo's going to be
crazy
capable
build
of.
path.
So, over under on Zeus, never die in this game.
It's
I mean, is he going to die 1 time? Let's put it at that. We'll go under 1 time.
I was about to say, well, if he dives the fountain, and then I'm like, hang on, would that even be enough?
No, because like I don't think, like Viper has 3 items, I still don't think he kills him.
He does have one of the good items for killing tanks.
Now let's see.
But he's level 16.
5 members of BLG go kill that Mundo, sacrifice the Baron, don't care about it.
Nexus for Mundo trade.
Get him.
That's going to ruin our over-under, though. All right, HLE now clearing out vision once again. Kanavi will be able to grab this ward towards the back of this pit. Shun getting control vision down, but HLE just kind of making the map so incredibly dark, and Kanavi sprinting around on, not able to get on top of him whatsoever. And all right, HLE still playing it relatively slow, just trying to hold this game in a position that they like, and obviously based on their composition, they can do this pretty comfortably. 3 minutes on that Chemtech Soul.
Here's what you do. You hold them in this game for as long as they held you in the first 2 games. So that you, after this game, then you've been winning for as much time. How about that?
Oh, you're a genius.
Yeah.
Would that even get to the longest game here at MSI?
The first 2 were so quick.
So very doable is what we're saying. All right, let's find out. The Impale is going to go wide. And yeah, Kanavi just walks to the back and eats a ward.
Yeah, I mean, they can just hold them here. As we've gone over, the scaling is so good for HLE.
Oh dear, well, the snare is going to connect, but Shun is just taking so much damage. There is the pillar finally coming down. The Arcane Storm chasing, but Shun still needs to go back. And HLE should be able to just take this Baron. It's even a teleport from Zeus there committing to this one.
Yeah, the silver lining was that Gumiyushi wasn't there. The big, massive storm cloud is that everyone in HLE is on Baron.
Look at Zeus' health bar. That's too many health bars.
Too many health bars. Ne mogu da prođu kroz kroz frontline. Mundo plus Trundle jednostavno previše proći kroz to. Mislim, Trundle sam po sebi nije toliko tanky, ali kad uzme Shunove statove, ne možeš ga ubiješ.
Is going to get back on over as they get themselves a Baron. They can then use the Baron to make sure that they claim the soul, or possibly even just win the game.
Honestly, Shun under attack again.
Yeah, put into the kennel one more time. That is not where Scorpions like to go. As Delight, will be able to help holding him in place. There is the fire kick. Zeus grabs it with a briefcase. And the Skarner knew there was nowhere to go.
LPL junglers and dying for Crab. What a beautiful thing to see is BLG give everything to get that little spot of vision in the river. But it does mean now HLE just immediately move to bot side.
Yeah.
The wave is coming. Mundo exists in the mid lane, so BLG are petrified.
And Kanavi exists on this bottom lane as well. I mean, he took the first 2 games personally, and I do not blame him. It was a monstrous performance from BLG, and this must feel very cathartic to be able to finally get some revenge. As he is just taking a lot of damage here. Can take some tribute to try and get that health bar back again. As speaking of health bars, here comes Zeus. And this is going to be the base broken. Gumushi able to freely hit this turret as the Arcane Storm is chasing down BLG. Gumushi is so incredibly far up here. He's got a lot of frontliners to stand behind. He's decided not to, as 2 inhibitor turrets are going to fall. 2 inhibitors probably to fall at the same time.
Šta sam kolovo? Hanma se vrati.
So far this game, as HLE moved to an 8,000 gold lead, 13 seconds on the Dragon, and HLE can just move back and grab it before spending their mountains of gold.
Yeah, BLG's only hope. They have to make this play now before the Dragon gets here, before that soul comes in. Otherwise, HLE will just complete...
Oh, Sean.
Mada možda BLG provali problem pa samo draftuje mage'a sljedeći game. Ako se pitate kog mage'a, da li je bitno kog mage'a?
Been looking for a flank angle, but HLE, they picked that one up as well, and Gumuishi's just been a typewriter over BLG. Bin has to flash to get over the canal, and now Zeus, where did he come from? Well, it is going to be Bin locking down the kill onto Kanavi. That is the smite now dead, but the top laner is also down. HLE, I don't think they're actually able to lead,
top, možda samo preko topa da probaju da uzmu.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure HLE can just move over and pick it up anyway. Shun, it feels very difficult to enter with half HP.
Things are quite dark, are they not?
Yeah, and Zek is kind of hitting you in the face.
Oh, Zeus did not go to the Dragon. All right, well, that is another Arcane Storm, as Zeker is still just chasing down 3 people. Zeus will move in, Knight over here as well as the...
A to, mislim, ako su igrali Italiju na botu i pobedili su Stalijom, realno, da li je bitno kog mage'a igraju? Očigledno je samo bitno igraš mage'a na botu i to je to.
And HLE just feeling phenomenal. The Spirit Visage was completed. Zeka just bounces on top of Shun with that blast cone. And that is going to be the soul picked up, and Zeka removing the soul of Shun here in his jungle.
Yeah, Shun wanted to eat a little bit. Just a little jungle camp, please. And Knight slaps his hand away.
Well, the Milio is dead. Delight is just going to be caught backing in a place where he's not really allowed to.
Yeah, Viper gets some more gold that's he's probably not really gonna appreciate that much. Still happy to get it. You're always still happy to get it.
It does,
but he won't get to use it for very often.
If you can keep making picks, something might happen.
I like that I could see your brain trying to figure it out. And I was like,
it went down every road. There was an
Yeah, it was just HLE turning in real time.
And I saw them balk. My watch is broken. Well, HLE back to it once again after they've spent that money. As Gumushi on 3.5 items right now. The quickness to try and hold Kanavi in position.
Sad sa solom, onda neće umre 3 života, Rene TP na 3 čoveka, 2 čoveka.
The question is he out? The subjugate is now running on the Renegade is on, speaking of which, he's going to take a full culling to the face, and the Arcane Storm is just terrifying, completely blocks them off, and Zeus just walks
Ma kakvi. Ma kakvi.
She thought that he might have been able to take down the Skarner there. Zeus' health bar does not move. He teleports underneath the turret and will be able to take these Nexus turrets as well. Look at that health bar if you can. We need better resolution to see how much health Zeus has. And HLE come alive finally here in Daejeon.
HLE are not done yet. Analyst desk, break it down.
What is there to break down? This Mundo was huge. Absolutely insane. Talk about taking over the game from start to finish.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Zeus pick of the Mundo.
Da, sad već idemo u malo ozbiljnije uglove.
You have enough consistent damage with the Zaya to, in theory, kill them, but they got so far ahead. They were just destroying them even early on with a comp that I thought outscaled heavily.
Yeah, and they set it up super well, right? They were like, look, we've been getting crushed by this jungle support duo. So they did set up for an early invade on the bot side off of their pushing pressure and then spread that across the map.
I really just think that they wanted to slow the game down here, and once Kanavi was able to get some early counter jungling off, they really
Ništa, pauzica. Nešto reći na brzaka, tu sam. Vraćamo se sa četvrtim od 5 partija, pošto se Hanma vraća.
Yeah, absolutely. Zeus in the end, the Mundo pick was Giga. Even with BLG flexing the Mel to the top lane, I think the draft was kind of already cooked. Yeah, flexing the Mel from the bot lane to
Maybe it would have been better.
So I think they would have been
I don't know about that.
extra screwed if they had double AP Skarner into that Mundo. Skarner Renegade into that Mundo.
Azale, you had something to say about the 3 Giants belt.
So I was just excited because I thought, oh my god, he's actually going to do the Warmogs rush and play sideline. Because if you go triple Giants belt, when you complete your Warmogs thereafter, you immediately activate the Warmogs, and you're basically unstoppable in a 1v1. You just take infinite trades. You lose 70% of your health, they lose half. You win that trade because you're full health on the next wave, and you just force it, and you become unstoppable on the side lane. He goes triple Giants, I'm like, oh my god, this is happening! And then he bought Heartsteel.
Yeah.
Which he could have just bought before doing the triple Giants.
Yeah,
exactly. But you know.
What's going on? He's baiting you on purpose. It was interesting also in this matchup because we did have a quote from Bin at the beginning of the day. I don't want no jungle intervention. I wanna face you head on. You think he's gonna change his words?
Definitely not. Bin lives and dies by whatever he says. He doesn't take these things back.
Also, I think like the greater game state was a bigger problem, which enabled Zeus, to be honest. But like it wasn't just about that 1v1 isolated.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Mundo was a great pick. I agree with that. I also thought they spread their map pressure really well. The biggest difference to me, again, was just that Shun and On were not able to really take over the game early, partially due to draft, partially due to prep. I want to point out the early objectives in this game to their prior games, because in this game, HLE took their first dragon of the series. And you can see in games 1 and 2,
they got some grubs.
Yeah. So, you know, it's a very
3 grubs
stark...
and 1 tower across the first 2 games.
Yeah, it's a very stark difference from this game, right? And that was the big difference maker to me, because you shut down this kind of engine of Shun and On. Knight was pinned to his turret. That also makes a huge difference if he doesn't have mid-prio. And then you just have this unkillable Mundo in the top lane.
I mean, it was great. You have Kanavi on Trundle, which Skarner just can never win 1v1, and then you have 2 pushing lanes, right? You know, Mundo is going to lose early. You're going to be getting pushed in, but they had the melee illusion pushing in bot. They were pushing in mid, and that allowed them to constantly invade. That allowed them to always be on the front foot. And I felt like it was a super smart draft. It was really well played. But I want some close games. Where are the 5v5s I was expecting? Because we have had 3 games. Now it is not a 3-0. It went the other way, but it is 3 stomps.
I totally agree with you. I don't want to walk away from here and having seen 5 games and none of them were close in the game, right? That's like monkey's paw is curling. I do want to call out HLE's mental. Emily, this is something that we talked about a little bit that we were worried about, right? You brought up the example of Road to MSI last year.
So it's just, and obviously a few pieces have changed, right? But I think the big thing for me is last year, Road to MSI, we did see this team get reversed up by Genji and then immediately lose to T103. And it's been something that has been talked about in the community about this HLE team. So if they were able to pull off the reverse sweep here, we already talked about how it would be historic because they haven't been able to do it and BLG haven't been reverse swept. But it would be a massive step forward for this team's mental compared to prior best of 5s where they have been in danger of getting swept.
And seeing the player cams behind the scenes there for HLE, they look pretty calm. I don't feel like they were that flustered, which after, it's obviously easier to look that way after a win, but after the way the first 2 games went, to then have this very slow, steady, methodical win is quite encouraging. The players on this team, Zeus and Guma, have multiple world championships each, so they should be able to kind of pull anybody else through any type of nerves. I mean, even Zeka with the world championship, they have the experience to be able to do it. They just have to do it here in front of their home crowd.
So much was started by just the early pressure, right? We saw Shunan on running the early game, the very, very early game in those first 2 games. Kanavi really showing more of his signature style. I'm seeing all the building blocks, but give me the exact recipe for an HLE win in Game 4.
I mean, good drafts and continue to, like, when you look at, I think WE did have a really good blueprint for beating BLG, right? Where you do kind of funnel gold into your jungle, you do destabilize the mid lane, you make it so that Shun and On can't take over the map, and you make it so that Knight doesn't constantly have mid pressure. I think you can do that during draft. This was a really excellent draft for HLE, especially on the 4-5, like you already pointed out.
This draft was luxury because you got pushing lanes, you got winning jungle, and you got outscaling. I don't think you can always get that. That is a huge draft gap, but I do think you can draft for winning jungle matchup and pushing lanes in bot to play around, to allow Kanavi to be the one on the front foot. So that is what I would be focusing on if I was the HLE coach.
Love it. BLG selects first pick. HLE pick blue side. Any surprises?
Nope, I feel like those are the two best choices, generally speaking. And the top lane counter pick hasn't mattered that much. It's more about trying to secure bot power, which you can do oftentimes with early prio.
Mundo mattered a little.
I mean, Mundo did matter, but I don't necessarily feel like that was a 5th pick.
Yeah.
We're going to crush you with the final counter pick strategy.
It's true. They crushed him nonetheless. We're back in it. No clean sweep for BLG. A reverse sweep perhaps on the horizon. We'll see what happens in Game 4.
Can I just troll that?
Your funeral. Hey, kid, your bear's got better instincts than most parents. This is salvation. A moment of silence for the recently departed.
Welcome to Arcane. Now live in Shanghai. It's your time to step into the real Arcane world. This is absolutely the wildest Arcane carnival you will ever experience. Follow at Immersive Arcane on X for the latest show updates.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. MSI 2026 is finally, there is a series slowly starting to appear on our hands. However, what we want is a back and forth, a little bit of a slugfest, and maybe not just stomp, stomp,
Maybe
stomp,
that's
stomp,
the
stomp.
problem. We're saying we wanted a back and forth series. We need to lower it to back and forth game. It's it's the nomenclature that we don't have right.
Got it. Okay. Someone forward that to the teams. It's not just just clobberings on both sides, because that's what it's been so far. I think, you know, BLG having a little bit of some whoopsies in the draft, like blind pick Renegade, often punishable, especially by a player like Zeus. I don't think they were expecting HLE to be able to wake up that quickly, though.
I'm going to be kind of mad if it just is another stomp. Like, if BLG then stomp this game and then we're just done here.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That would feel so empty.
Yeah. Don't will that into existence. Now that you've said it, maybe it's not going to happen.
Nice.
You know, sometimes when you think about something, you're like, this is exactly what's, and it doesn't happen. Hopefully that's how it's going to work, because I'm also hoping for either some silver scrapes, like HLE, they're allowed one more stomp as long as that gives us the close game, game 5.
It's just 2 bangers back to back. That's.
I mean, yeah, that'd be obviously
want,
that would be the best Dector. But I mean, the step below that is at least HLE wins and brings us to the 5 games. But if BLG just smash this one, like Kobe said, that is definitely not what we're looking for. But that is what BLG want, to get themselves a position in the final, and then just get to watch a couple more best of 5s and see who is going to be coming their way.
Yeah, and that was really nicely done from HLE, you know, investing early, grabbing the victor, and being able to utilize their scaling very effectively. Plus, it never really was answered, so let's get into
Evo nas nazad u partiji koju će Hanma da pobedi. Ja se izvinjam zbog spoilera, ali pročitao sam scenariju pa mi glupo da ja jedini znam. Tako da jednostavno moram i vama da kažem da će ovo ipak biti 2-2. Osim ako BLG nije pročitao moj scenariju i znaju da treba i draftuju Midge. Što je dalje misterija, nisam siguran da li imaju pristup mom scenariju, ali eto, ako imaju...
Still focus from HLE on towards on though, and I think that's where my focus is going to be moving through this draft phase. BLG have looked best when he can leave lane and play elsewhere.
Onda će vidjeti kakva je situacija.
You've gotten rid of Rel, Camille, Shen, so many of these picks that he's been phenomenal on at moving around the map do not exist anymore. So for BLG, how do they try and lean into that playstyle, and do we get more of those mages to support that playstyle?
What I want to see are some mages that look for kills, like Ari, Aurora, Silas mid maybe come out. You know, the LeBlancy, but I want them to really get in there and get their hands dirty. So let's see what we actually get to. I feel like now is about the time in Fearless where we start to get in there.
It's also about the time where we're going to have a little bit of an issue with the draft. That's why we jumped out of it. I like how you were talking about on while the game was talking about off. We do have, a little bit of an issue, but a couple of minutes is probably how long it's going to take, and we'll just get back straight into the draft and see what these final bans are going to be. I don't think we see Vi this whole series because Shun and Kanavi are both too good at it, so that one was a guarantee for one of the final bans, and so that does give us a bit of a look as to what the first pick might be. But because we're so deep in Fearless and so many of the top tier picks have gone, especially a lot of the blind picks, are we like, what territory are we at for first picks?
Well, the one that interests me is the top lane picks. Because honestly, we haven't seen a huge amount of this battle back and forth between Bin and Zeus. Like, the Mundo kind of got the better of it thanks to the draft, and we've seen like some focus from HLE towards top side. But the game has already been decided before these 2 titans of the top lane have managed to tussle it out. And I want to see them finally...
Imi neku pauzicu, ali nisam ja siguran što se događa iskreno.
Yeah, keep everybody out of it. Honestly though, with the ways that these games have been going, I think we're going to get a lot of extra visitors. We've had a lot of... jungle and support has determined so much. I mean, this previous game, getting the early invade there for Kanavi, and then the flash at the dragon fight, and they never let control back. Having pushing lanes to do that with, you know, pushing mid lane and pushing bottom lane, utilized so effectively. So we're going to have to wait until it gets right back up, because like you're saying, Atlas, getting down into these roles, in this kind of like middle ground for Fearless is into the like, ooh, we're gonna have a lot more skirmish heavy stuff. I feel like, you know, Xin, pretty high priority at this stage, and then you can get like Pantheon. And then if you're into Xin territory, do they want to pull out Kha'Zix as answers? Because both of these players have had some of these assassin opportunities. So I feel like there's a lot of fun in each of the roles at the moment where you can still kind of flex into individual flavor.
Yeah, that's where we're going to be getting to some of the more cool, interesting type picks, even though we've had quite a few of them already. The Mundo coming out from Zeus is definitely a great example of that. And I'm hoping that maybe we'll get something brand new, like not just a Vel'Koz again, even though the skin is fantastic. Yes, I do just want Viper to play Teemo again. That is basically where I'm at.
For the jungle, though, I think things like the Xin, the Kiana, the Poppy, all super high priority, like especially for Shun. You're looking at that mid lane, we already kind of touched on things like the Ahri that I think can set up quite well. And I do think like coming back into that mid-jungle duo can lend a lot of credence to HLE. Like this was their stock.
Izgleda imaju neku tehničku malo, ja se nadam neće dugo da traje, iskreno.
It has been a little bit disrupted by BLG, but if HLE want to push us to that game number 5, I feel like that duo lane, that combo is going to be so crucial to winning here.
And it sort of has been all tournament long as well. It's been very interesting seeing how things have developed, and I feel like it's developed into, let's not play AD carries anymore. That is not all that interesting. And it's so cool that we then get to go back to what was Viper's bread and butter. Like that was what Griffin really put themselves on the map as being able to do. It was play everything in sort of every role. Chovy was great at playing top lane champions in the mid lane. In the meantime, you've got mid jungles being picked as duo lanes in the bottom side, and BLG able to leverage.
Pa ja sam super, hvala na pitanju, malo me ubilo ovo što je MSI bio u 5 ujutru. Iskreno, očigledno mi baš ne odgovara, se budim toliko rano, nisam navikao. Ali sad je gotovo, tako da super, teretana super. Izlaze neke nove igrice ovih dana, to je sutra izlazi jedna igra koju sam jako dugo čekao da izađe full release. Tako da planiram da streamujem to ceo playthrough, da je pređem na streamu. Nisam dugo neki serijal radio, tako da radujem se tome. Mimo toga dosta turnira, dosta posla. EVC kreće još malo. To jest u sredu sledeću. Pa onda Let's EBL se vraćaju, svašta nešto. Mislim da ne može, mislim da se skida od 5 ujutru u nedelju. Mi ćemo tek igrati u nedelju veče, tako da ćemo vremena.
Competitive game 4 here. We have had 3 stomps. We're hoping that we're going to get one of those back and forth kind of team fight exhibitions that I think everyone was expecting coming into the series.
Well, and that we want, right? Like these are the best players in the world. Like these are two teams that really we were talking about how strong their top sides are when they work together.
Ja mislim da je u 5-3. Čuo sam za Shrouded da je baš dobra igra. To sam baš čuo da je jako dobra igra. S tim da, fore je što generalno nemam puno vremena da radim stvari mimo onoga što već radim. Turniri, LOL, itd. I onda, pošto imam jako malo vremena, baš sam izbirljiv sa stvarima koje igram. I pošto sutra izlazi Palworld 1.0, što je ogroman release, to sam igrao 2024, igrica je bila predobra i onda sam hteo da uradim ceo playthrough, da završim s Klarom celu igru. Tako da to ću igrati.
Generally speaking, they're not going to punish you for the misclick. It's only if the other team then reveal the information do you get locked in. So that's why they're taking some time to go through this one and get this right.
So tournament officials have determined that BLG did object in time, so they will remake picks and bans up until BLG's second ban, which
Dobro, remake-aju. Bi prolomio. Jedino što me malkice brine je što su mu pikovi i dalje donekle predvidivi i ja se nadam da ima nešto novo spremno za FlyQuest.
There we go. I'm confused, but that's fine. We're back into Champ Select, and we're having a look at what is going to be banned next.
Yeah, did he not just say that was...
Yeah. So that maybe that wasn't the erroneous ban. That was actually the ban that they were supposed to do, and they banned something. It was Nocturne that they banned last time. So it's supposed to be Caitlyn, and so it was just And brain rewiring. That's okay. I did the cogs problem thing again. You got there. Did I? I don't know. Okay. One more band come through here on HLE's side before we get into the picks. We'll see what bin is going to be locking down for their first one.
No Oriana ban thus far.
Yeah.
Is that going to be the last one for HLE? There's actually the Nocturne.
Wow.
So Oriana up and available for Nice. This blew teams out of the water in the LPL, and we saw what he could do at MSI as well.
Sve okej, razumemo se, to je bitno.
I mean, Zeka needs an answer to this. They have to have understood that this is exactly what they're walking into, but this is such a risk with match point on the table.
And the Akali gone, what has been one of the answers to it already. Yone taken away, like, Zeka, I'm not sure what he has in the tank, and I think that's why BLG trying to think this one through, run down the clock to try and figure out what are the potential answers.
Yeah, you're kind of like, okay, well, yeah, what is this a bait? Because I'm gonna do it. Let's see what the answer ends up being, because you also banned away the, even with banning away the Nocturne and the fearlessly used up Nefiri, you don't have like the most aggressive.
A ne znam. Mislim, u teoriji G2 bi trebao da dobije, ali
we've also seen people will just flash in with it, so are gonna have to at least deny the Vi, and then maybe we do.
Ali to opet niko ne može znati, mislim, kažem, u teoriji G2 se čini da je
to try and get, say, a jungle mid kill pressure on that Oriana and punish the low mobility.
da je tu favorit. U praksi, ko zna.
When the Oriana's on a side lane, the ability to try and protect her, because that's the main focus oftentimes when you take something like the Vi is attack this Oriana at the side lane. Also having the Varus there to clear out some of these waves, open up the light to try and play for those side lanes as well.
I mislim da ako Hanva izgubi ili bi... Mislim da G2 može dobiti bilo koga. Mislim da nije hard unwinnable za G2 ništa.
As now, Shun and Knight to round out what we're going to see from BLG before we get into some more bands. And there is that Pantheon that you were talking about, Dagda. Will it then just be a bin pick for the top side of the map? Or what is it going to be? That is sort of my question here, as the Ezreal for Viper will be the answer.
So the extra safety in the poke.
Yeah, that's the main one that they're trying to focus on. And something the Viper has been very strong on as well, being able to keep himself in check and really power through these team fights when he gets an advantage. And I think that's where, again, you're going to be looking now at, hey, can we answer for some of these picks? Because BLG want to keep that counter pick for Bin so he can be a threat on sides and kind of open up for Pantheon if he has an option.
And HLE just double down. One point and click dive here. Nautilus and Vi to really put pressure onto this Oriana. I mean, yeah, Viper locks in a little bit of safety there with the Ezreal to be able to arcane shift away, but they're going to put as much pressure as they possibly can on tonight.
This is going to be a very mobile, bouncy castle that's going to be chasing Viper wherever he wants to arcane shift. So, Ban going to be coming in finally here for HLE. See where they're going to be focusing. I imagine top side of the map is probably what they're going to be looking at. But still a fair bit of flexibility, and instead it's going to be the Alistair taken away.
So still the focus on towards On, trying to limit his champion pool, but it does mean that
BLG loko vade carry-a. Doduše Ezreal je polu-mage, ako ćemo iskreno, ali...
champions coming in from the LPL. My biggest worry for them is that while he has a good win rate on the champion, sometimes he kind of overextends in team fights and doesn't play the front to back as much as you'd want from a Science. But I think with this sort of composition, it would then deviate the Varus into this on-hit build, which then opens up kind of him playing in range of this Oriana. So maybe it's an option that BLG want to go for.
And since HLE are showing so much commitment to the dive, I mean, you're thinking about the other like possible counter dive things that we have available still to be selected. Dude, what do you think about pivots to like Braum and stuff like that, and just look to be able to have team fight presence when you know they're going to be able to come in for the commitment? Like, regardless whether the Varus is bottom or top side, they're going to be looking to follow up on a Vi or a Nautilus and use that chain of corruptions to spread through your team. So trying to get some kind of counter or blocker.
Ooh, okay, so the Vayne is going to be the ban away here. Probably not what HLE we're going to lock in right now, because they're going to be looking for Zeka's answer to the Oriana at this stage. With the Ahri banned away, it's a little bit more up in the air. The Aurora is an option. The Galio definitely an option, although damage will be problematic. That's a dragon. See what he... Oh my goodness, this was one of his favorites. I would have loved it, but instead it's going to be the Aurora. The Fizz was an answer to the TF that used to be like, you know, the hard counter all those years ago, that he did play a little bit earlier on in a different tournament, but that is the Aurora locked in.
And the Aurora is one of the ones that we were mentioning early on with the combos with Divide to look for some burst damage and try and get that pressure, but
BLG je dobio Orijanu. Malo me brine Aitova Orijana, iskreno. Za Hanvu.
Yep, more roaming potential here from On as the Cassante blind is looking to be the option. That's an Olaf. We did see that yesterday, and I prefer not to think about it, so thankfully the Cassante is coming back.
But there is what we were talking about, right? Potentially go for the tank and then just go for the front to back.
I love that flash, man. I love that. Putting a bit of fear into Zeus.
Well, he's also like, I dare you.
Asking,
he's like,
do you want to do it?
He's like, do it, do it.
Honestly, double AP doesn't look too bad when you've got a potential lethality Varus from the bottom lane.
Also, like, I don't hate if he wants to go towards something like the Olaf, especially when you've got so much setup there as well. The ability to chase down the Ezreal might be a bit of a problem, but Orianna not going to be too happy if there's an Olaf chasing her down.
Kako Hanva zatvara ovaj draft? Ne znam kako, mislim, čini mi se da jako teško prolaze kroz Sante, iskreno, kad im pogledam draft.
I'm seeing Delight not doing very much right now. We'll see what is actually finally going to be locked in, hopefully very soon. As we are, once again going to pop out. I was sitting there, I'm like, I don't see a timer ticking down, and Delight's supposed to be doing stuff, and he's not really doing stuff. So we are going to pop out once again from the draft. We'll get you an update on exactly what did happen there. And I'm assuming that the Cassante pick was real.
Yeah.
Whatever popped out, Atlas, pop it back in.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, let's get this show on the road.
Have we tried to turn it off and on again?
No. This is the only way we can extend the series. The game's gonna be too fast, Kobe, okay? We're gonna make sure that we just have as much time here as possible. Daejon's beautiful.
If this is the price to pay for a close game, I'm down to pay it. Let's all sit and wait.
Heck yeah.
Let's get a close, scrappy game. Actually, let's all meditate. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, Faker's really started something. Just going for the reboot for our mid laners here. Zeka doing the same thing. And so I think we're just going to be quickly running through this draft to get back to where we were.
It does feel like a scrappy draft, though. When I see the champions that are there, I'm kind of like, you know what? We've got this strong mid jungle that we wanted.
Ne znam, imaju neki problema u draftu, očigledno.
Orianna, one of his strongest picks, and you get this like front to back team fight. It looks like if that Cassante was real, like this to me feels like we're going to have an absolute brawl in this game.
I hope so. The Orianna does really terrify me. I don't know whether the Aurora is going to be enough of an answer. I think if she doesn't really start to accelerate, can really not do very much on the Rift. But the tools that HLE has this time around to lock down especially a single target is absolutely ridiculous. So mid-game power for this composition is going to be through the roof. Not to mention it's Kanavi on Vi. Like, he just makes magic happen on this champion. So does Shun, right? Like, this is why this champion is being banned all series long.
Yeah, the most frustrating part of playing with Kanavi on Vi is that he would just sit in a bush. And you're like, oh no, he's definitely gone now. And then he just murders you in the top lane. Like, this guy is so patient and is so good at finding those moments that dictate the pace of a game on the Vi. So I think this is where, like, Kanavi can look to just try and take over in the early game.
Yeah, and one thing is certain for me at least is that HLE have to get active with this team comp. You cannot sit back and let BLG just scale and win. You have to get active. You have Aurora, you have Vi, you have Nautilus. Get in there, make it happen if you want to extend this series.
And I'm really interested because we haven't seen Zeus' top pick just yet, and whether he is going to be going into that one as well. But ladies and gentlemen, some players have disconnected from the champion select, and so tournament officials are going to be investigating and making sure that we know exactly.
To će malo potrati, mislim dalje istražuju šta se događa. Tako da dalje nemamo zvaničan start time, nažalost.
Could be an important thing as well. It's one of these. Yeah, well, I mean, for anyone, giving these players time to breathe.
I'm getting dizzy up here now. we're popping in and out of it.
Kobe, you should stop spinning around.
That's my fault. What the heck?
But I mean, you know, for both these teams, like, there's so much for the players that they want to try and achieve, right? Like,
Ne znam još što rade, ne znam će biti remake. Čekam ja da vidim, da mi kažu što se događa.
You look on the opposite side as well, it's like trying to see if Zeus and Gumayushi can stop it. Can Avi changing sides, but we're going to change it over to a different desk. As analysts, welcome back.
Casters, please start game. Why, Casters?
Postavio da, ovo će biti malo duže pauze izgleda.
They just want more and more and more time to talk.
It's incredible.
It's out of control.
It's
out of
incredible.
Control. You can just press the button at any time, Max.
Yeah.
Press the button.
Yeah, you can. I know. I know.
You guys can't hear him, but Max just looked so
screaming.
overjoyed.
He's screaming at
And
us.
he is yelling at us, and he is pressing buttons.
I can't hear
But
you.
they are
Blah,
not
blah, blah,
doing
Kobe.
anything.
I cannot hear you.
I will say I'm really interested what this final pick is going to be. You know, what kind of angle Zeus is going to go for, if it's going to be something more to actually round out the draft. Or
It's a fun game.
Yeah, I mean, because you have a lot of options here. So the other thing I will say that I don't know if the casters were talking about this because we had our headsets off, but there is the possibility of Varus always going top, right? And you pick a different AD carry, you try to play around that. There's options that, you know, we saw On was hovering like the Gwen. You can go for scaling matchups. There's options like the Olaf, which is up and available and can actually come out as a potential counter pick. So there are a lot of angles, but I do agree, regardless kind of what you go on 5 here, as Kobe was saying, I do think they have to get really active because I do think it can be difficult later on.
This was the draft before everybody disconnected, right? And they're leaving, so let's chat. Now, I want to hear an opinion. So, to get to game 5 with the caveats or having to get active or whatnot, what do each of you want to see as that last pick?
Oh, geez, that's a good one.
Yeah, I don't know. There's actually so many.
I gotta pick one.
I'm trying to. I was just trying to think if there's any mage pick that can survive against the Ezreal Nico, because at the moment I kind of feel like they need the.
Igralo se Vayne, igralo se Rumble ranije, svašta nešto može se igra. Mislim, Xante je tank, tako da ti možda igraš oko topa šta god, samo da ga da probaš da naskilaš isto koliko i on, što je malo nezgodno jer Xante je očigledno veoma jak. Opet zavisi kako žele da pristupe draftu, to je fora.
Works pretty well here. I think you have more than enough physical damage with the Vi and the Varus.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good 1v1 matchup into the Cassante, but it's one that doesn't have to commit to split pushing the whole game. You can actually team fight, which is one of the things I've always really liked about Gwen, is you can create side lane advantages, bring that to a 5v5, have success. And it's also a champion that I think, especially if you are not, I don't want to see Ignite plus TP. I think you need, more defensive summoner, given that there is a Pantheon in the game and you are going to be getting attacked. It is someone that I think, with Flash or Ghost and the Shroud can absorb a lot of those ganks. So I think something like that could be pretty cool.
Emily?
Yeah, I mean,
but
I like
you have a
Gwen.
different one, or?
No, I don't. I was just thinking, okay, I wonder if they just swap. Again, because I wonder if they just swap the Varus top. But I'm like Jat already pointed out, I'm not sure that's a great idea just because of how hard this Ezreal and Nico lane can push in. One thing that casters were saying that I also agree with, kind of regardless of top lane pick, my opinion could change depending on what they pick, but I do want to see HLE get really active early on the map. Because otherwise this is kind of an insane scaling. You have, especially with the Orianna, just so much playmaking on the side of BLG in mid to late game team fights.
I mean, I think two options. I was trying to think what would I want them to play if they actually want to move the Varus top. I was thinking about MF or potentially even Senna, and those would be two that I think could actually work pretty well. MF has a lot of laning power. Senna is more withstand the lane, and then you're playing more towards the other side. If you're assuming that you are going to be using the Vi and you're playing towards your Varus, you're kind of attacking in that way. I think MF definitely can work. To me, there's more than enough setup with the Vi and the Nautilus. I think it is more likely that Varus is going bot though, and that we are going to see something else, which I personally would love seeing Gwen. I think it actually kind of rounds out the comp pretty well.
Have we exhausted this topic?
I think so.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Let's see where we go then. He said already getting active. Let's talk a little bit about, as former pro players, right? What this does to the psyche and what this does to the mental. They have been allowed a bathroom break, by the way. That is why some of the players left the stage, that you don't think that they're doing it in a clandestine way.
I think you definitely get up and walk around. When they sit back down, they're just going to be playing another game of League of Legends, especially players as experienced to this. Tech pauses do happen in esports. So I feel like with how veteran all these teams are, they're going to be completely okay. I mean, I'm just, you have an
You're a world
anecdote?
champion.
Well, my angle is whenever I lost and there was a delay, I was tilted like crazy because all you're thinking about is what you wanted to do different for this game. You talked about it, you went backstage, you discussed it, you said, this is what we're going to change, this is what we're going to change. Like, great, we're on the same page. Let's get out there. Let's do it. Oh, wrong band. All right, start over again. Disconnect.
Yeah.
Okay, start over. And I feel like coming off the win, you're in such a better mindset. So, you know, for HLE, I think the pause isn't as disruptive. I know some people will always argue momentum and maybe that gets in the way. But from my own personal experience, I know if I had just lost and then I'm forced to stew on that for a long time in a delay, that is just blowing up my mental.
Fuming.
Yeah.
So it was BLG who, no, it's HLE who disconnected with the last pick. And which team had the missed ban? I'm trying to remember
this. It
this.
was BLG who actually had accidentally locked in Nocturne as a ban.
Yeah, and then said it was Caitlyn.
When they wanted to ban Caitlyn.
And now it's HLE who's having the DC. So I'd be more tilted if like both of them was the other team and it felt like they were delaying it.
But
So it's like 1-1.
Yeah,
So
it's
you feel like
even,
it's more
fair.
Apparently, we're getting closer to them being back, and I see that my casters are back.
They're ready to press the button this
put
time,
their
buddy.
clothes back on. They've had their snacks. Back to you.
Gume na AORUS je uvek insane international eventima, to je istina.
But I did find it.
It is a very nice book.
Yeah, so it is right here. It's lit up. I think it's ready to go, but I'm getting a bit nervous. Like, I don't know where, like... Let me do it! You want to do it, Kobe? You can do it. You were the birthday boy a few days ago. There it is. Wait.
Why isn't it working when I do it?
But Kobe, it shuts off... It shuts off my voice, though. It doesn't... It's not actually working. This is the wrong one. Hang on, no, it's this knob here.
Wait, this is better,
there we go. No one can see that I'm trying to talk, so it's really hard. Like, let me just talk, and then nothing. No, it just doesn't really work. Also, the start game button doesn't work. So sorry, Shocks. I failed, I guess. I couldn't find the button.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I am actually. I'm
I would like to
sorry.
get into the
Here we
game
go. I found it. I found the button. I got it.
That wasn't picked. That's not the pick. There we go.
All right, let's send it back to the analyst. Just kidding.
I thought you were.
Just kidding.
Well, they could do the draft. We've already had a go. It's fine. All right. So, who wants to be the prophet? Who wants to do the memory test?
Oh, so what was picked?
Yeah.
I thought you were like, are
You
they
know
going to
what?
flex the
Aurora
bar
looks
system?
real good here, guys. I'm feeling an Aurora.
Okay.
Wow.
Zeka.
All right.
Wait, did they have to, like, are they
They're
going
gonna
to
go through
pick a different champion, though? You set me up.
No, but I think they should ban Vayne here, so there that is.
that was a good
Then the Aurora gets locked in.
Yes, Aurora Vi.
Yeah, very good. I think Nico is just brilliant in this position.
Yes.
I don't think there's any other choice. And then Cassante would annoy Showmaker, and we're in his country right now, so I think that's a good
now
idea
do the
too.
last one. Where's the Zeus pick, huh?
It's Kaisa for Gumayushi. No. We heard the test talking about flexing the Varus top. I hope that doesn't happen. And if I've made that a thing, then I apologize. But it could be the Gwen.
Well, we've just...
I'm not going to lie, lads. You've had enough time to think about this, but that would be cool.
Yeah, there's a hen.
Okay.
Gonna come through for Zeus. And he doesn't get punished in this lane. I actually really like this pick.
Yeah, I think it sets up nicely and works well with the dive, right? The Grim Deliverance.
Dobro, za hen. Eto nešto što možda nismo vidjeli toliko, ja bih rekao. Ali opet u Xantea, kažem, pika možda skela, fajni pik. Vidjeli smo da se Doranu baš nešto nije puno isplatio, ali... Mislim da Zevs definitivno ima mogu napravi neku razliku na njemu.
In the third one, we have a series appearing on our hands. It disappeared for a little while. We had chats with the analyst desk. Now we're back here, ready to get into game number 4. Everything's sorted out. The picks are lined up. And we'll just have to see whether HLE can line up some silver scrapes.
And don't go check the tapes on those first couple games. They were super exciting, back and forth. Just pinnacle of League of Legends gameplay, and this one is going to be the same.
Yeah, just look at the timestamp. You know, it's been quite some time. And so obviously they were long games.
But don't jump too far ahead in the VOD because you might skip over one of the games accidentally. So like, maybe just press the arrow key a few times.
Shout out to our stage manager, Seb. They're getting
what a hero.
Oh, speaking of getting active, Seb definitely doing a lot of that today. All right, let's hear from the fans.
Beautiful noise.
I just love it when it's the lightings and the gyros.
Čemo da imamo. Se vraća Hanva, idemo u Game 5. Napomenuo sam, ne bih nikad otpisao. Navikli su oni na produžene serije. Nije to kao Evropa, jednom kad ekipa krene da gubi, samo se full raspadne, već ono, i da su 0-2 down, oni imaju mental da se vrate bez problema. I mnogo puta su se vratili protiv Tivana u Prime-u i protiv ne znam nija koga. Ajde, Tivan u Prime-u, malo diskutabilno, jer su onda oni bili deo Tivana, ali generalno Kina, Koreja, nemaš ih otpišeš nikad u produženim serijama.
The threat of enemy jungle coming to gank you early on and play off the Nautilus CC. But it's now over vision, as the defensive ward there on red buff will alert them.
Also, the teleport on Gumayushi means he can be fairly vulnerable, especially when the heal now burned, if you can land that poke in the bottom lane for a potential dive. But Zeka trading well against Knight in this mid lane.
Yeah, Zeka really has woken up this series. Finding some angles in the previous game on the Victor, and now the Aurora looking good. This is a champion that he has found a lot of success on in the past. As HLE just farming with piercing arrows here, understanding that this is not their strong side of the map. Kanavi finishing off his blue side clear right now, but Shun right over there. And Zeka continuing to lay down the hurt onto this Orianna in this early stage.
Oh, so the reset actually coming through from Shun, so maybe trying to move up to protect his top side or at least look for the fight. Curious to see now as he will pick up the longsword, but Bane taking some hurt here.
Interesting, yeah, they do it to hard out. Max, you hit the button again!
No, I didn't even! I did that, my voice would stop!
It's not just like a normal button, it's actually like a switch.
Oh, yeah, it's like you catch it with the elbow. Yeah.
Wow, we have
Te se ne računa, te se ne. Ali te samo ima drugu, oni imaju drugu naviku. Oni samo izgube ruke kad dođu na MSI. To je druga priča.
Man, I mean, if you don't have a tissue, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what am I supposed to do?
I couldn't say anything because we were casting.
I'm in a white shirt. It doesn't show up on yours.
But Atlas has my back. He saw this and he was like, pause!
I pressed the button again.
Ruling from the officials, red card, Dagda blew his nose on his
Zašto ti admin treba? Misliš za ovo što ne mogu da se sklope u... Ne, to je... Problem je što to su igrači, brat. Tako bude. Igrači samo random kukaju i onda dok ti objasniš svima šta i kako... Da, ali to je do igrača. Obično bude. Osim ona sa Dylan Falcon kad su ovi kasno swapovali, to razumem.
We'll see. All right. So far, though, we're just getting back into laning. Still a complete mystery as to why that happened.
Kanavi's in a bit of an awkward spot, right? Because he got the Raptor, sure, but his entire bot side was stolen. So now he's trying to go in and get the blue on the opposite end. And it's Shun who's just trying to keep himself keeping pace with Kanavi as well. So Kanavi now going to be a little bit slower on his clear. And you're also going to be looking at Shun who can get this topside grab. Maybe look to help out Ben as well, as that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, Gumayushi takes the full blooming burst almost.
It's interesting because he is out of potions, but as he said, you know, they're both running the teleports. They do have vision for a quick second there as the Nico walked up through the river. So now we're going to have an opportunity for Vi to come from Tribush. Can they get a good angle on this Ezreal? He's going to go right into his hands.
Yeah, the flash does come forward. As Kanavi just decides not to charge the Vault Breaker and look for the Viper angle. Might have had it on cooldown, didn't quite see the Vi prior to that play. Shun going to steal away some Raptors. And that is going to be that jungle still under control of BLG.
Yeah, so Kanavi will be able to get the bot side scuttle, got the Raptor respawn, will be able to pick up his wolves as well at some stage. So Kanavi definitely a little bit behind when it comes towards the pressure that's been put onto the early game. And now Shun knows that Delight has no flash, but he's spotted.
Yeah, it's a nice little ward there from HLE. We'll be able to get this wave shoved on in. Knight not pressing the dissonance button, but it looks like Zeka just wants to go back home. About a wave in the lead, but that should be somewhat evened out after this wave is taken down. Max range anchor to come through, but nice buffer on the arcane shift from Viper. Gets him out of the way. Still, the poke is now starting to reign true.
Yeah, Viper doing a pretty good job staying safe with all of the early routing towards
Oh dear, Zeka in a lot of trouble. Minion getting a little bit feisty as well.
They both have no mana though, so I think it's kind of a, you know, both are trying their best, but it's kind of just hitting each other with wet pool noodles, you know?
Yeah.
And
speaking of which, let's look at the top lane.
Yeah, well, I was also going to say, you know, we also got the early look at Knight using his teleport to get back to lane super early on because Zeka was poking him so hard. But Zeka still has his, so Zeka's going to be able to use his to reset real quickly. And they do have a roam timer here, so Nautilus pushes mid with him while Kanavi's staring down these Raptors.
Oh, Kanavi doesn't know that On is there, does manage to catch him. Shun able to lock this one down, nice anchor to connect. There is the shape splitter there for Shun, for On. And we'll be able to at least distract them momentarily. Zeka now moving towards the top side as Bin is fighting against Zeus here in this top lane. And there's a Grim Deliverance. Bin gonna have to dash his way out of this one. The passive is stacked up. The flash in gets the knock up, and there's first blood. Over to Zeka. Anchor's gonna connect here as well.
Nećemo reći da smo ga kolovali, ali realno smo ga kolovali.
But HLE with first blood and Zeus off to the races.
HLE able to cover the rest of the members from BLG who are trying to get to that top lane. Beautiful play from HLE. The solo lanes working in tandem.
It's not the counter pick that BLG were expecting in draft when they were flashing the Gwen, when they were flashing the other options, but it is the counter pick that Zeus will make work. And he gets in there, says, I am the top lane god, as we have another invade over Raptors. Who gets this one? And it's Knight who gets this one.
Yeah, Kanavi decided Smite is not something that he needs when there's no jungler here, but he also doesn't have enough damage to kill it before Knight does.
In this game, though, as opposed to the other, game one where BLG were able to get control as well, like the solo lanes are still working out super well for HLE. You've got a nice lead for yourself with the assist and a plate for Zeus. Zeka having that early kill is off to the races, so that's why we're seeing BLG now starting to move down to the spot lane in the hopes that they might be able to make something work. You do have the Pantheon in the jungle, but I don't think they're really going to be able to do too much.
Viper is going to be pushing this one towards Gumishi and Delight. They're not looking for too much of an angle. There are a couple of Orianas on the map. I have a feeling the one in the bottom lane is not one.
I got a little baited because in LEC we have the name of the Nico still there, whereas in this we don't. So
I got a little bit frightened. I did look at the minimap and I'm like, oh, so On is laning in the mid lane against Zeka. And then I
got a
perhaps
solution,
that's not
guys.
what's happening.
I have a solution. Let's pause.
Push the button. Push the button.
I'm just kidding. I'll never speak of it again. No, but it does. Yeah, she doesn't have the little green glow as well. Okay, Scuttle Crab is up though. So Nico and Pantheon here for the Scuttle Crab fight. As Knight will also teleport back out.
Nisam vidio, iskreno nisam vidio.
The early route for Kanavi to get the crab, but going for a deeper play here. Shun does drop the ward, which doesn't get swept.
All right, that is On that's going to deliver.
Da li ima G2 šans? A ima, kako nema, brate? Realno.
Be pushing Bin back as best he can. Zeka is actually losing out on some of these trades here in the mid lane. Knight with a lot of power. Now that the range has come on through, level 7, feeling a bit better here for the Oriana. Catalyst is going to be helping him a lot.
Yeah, BLG just moving on and Shun up to make sure that Kanavi couldn't try and interact with Bin as he wanted to crash that wave. So now with the wave pushing back out, in a much better spot. Void Grubs are up though, and I think from this position, with the early gold on Zeka, I wouldn't be too surprised if HLE are happy to take a fight here.
Knight's moving over. Kanavi is going to pull off of these grubs as there is Zeus looking for some angles towards Bin, but Bin went all out. But maybe he's going out of this top lane once again. As Zeus, the sidestep is going to mean that it's going to be all right. He did have the passive, so he's not going down just yet. And in fact, is able to walk it off for the moment. Yeah, now Delight looking to move its way in, and the passive is gone. And so Zeus is just dead. Maybe wanted to go for a little bit more of a fight there instead, but will be going down. That is a good answering kill here from BLG.
Yeah, he gets kited out in the roam over from the rest of BLG. They get the kill. They're also going to be able to get the grubs here. Delight and Kanavi still looking at them. He wants to steal away one. He's got a smite charge.
Yeah, Anchor going to connect somehow onto Knight. That was a great threat of the needle. Only level 5 Delight, though, is now on, taking a lot of damage. There's the cease and desist. True shot barrage over the top of HLE's Kanavi, trying to stay alive, but Viper comes on over to lock him down. The teleport in from Zeus. Now we know why they wanted to start this one is on, having to get out of there. Gumayushi moving up now as well. Has been in amongst the fight, but the Chains of Corruption will hold him down. He tries to get away with the Grim Deliverance. He's going to come through from Zeus to block that one off. Another Anchor from Delight. He is threading the needle with a very large needle this game, as Knight will be interrupted momentarily, but HLE not going to go for too much more.
Thought it might have been a bit more with that hook from Delight at the end, but everyone backs away. TP from Viper back down to the bot lane. Ended up losing a wave to try and get to that top lane play, so he is going to be down a little bit on the CS, but still HLE keeping that gold lead.
Meanwhile, Guma just walked mid and was able to push that wave in mid, so it gets all the way to the tower, hits it as well, and he's going to save his teleport. So let's take another look at the beginning. Should puts up his, you know,
Lep hook od Delighta. Samo što je Knight bio jako lepo zakucan u zid, da ne može da ga pula nazad.
Still right next to Kanavi, ends up going down, and so it's a 1-for-1 as Viper has walked over and can help collect.
Yeah, but it's again the flash burn by Delight, who nearly connected on towards the hook, but Bin's in no man's land at this stage, just trying to escape. Had the flash, but the amount of CC that comes through is just too much for him to try and get away from.
In the meantime, we've got another battle.
A taman posle akcija stane.
Just walking on over. Bin going to come through, but Zeus gets to the safety of his turret. Perhaps a little bit of an overextension on Kanavi's side, is now looking for an answer here in the bottom lane. Gumayushi should be able to at least get a plate or two, but that is going to be it, as the piercing arrow does come down as well.
The never-ending grub fights. We've had more kills up there than the grubs have been taken. It's still only
it's one each, yeah.
Still only one each. Guma, meanwhile, again, he still was able to hold onto his teleport, so it's 2 teleport advantages to HLE with all this scramble going on. Both Seka and Guma have theirs, but with the extra map pressure, this is going the way of BLG as Bin is up to the tower again, getting more turret plate money.
But it's also, look at Knight. He got those 3 kills. He's finished his Rod of Ages. He had Dark Seal, so he's now at 6 stacks of the Dark Seal.
Da, idemo u peti.
In this game, whereas for HLE, it's kind of odds and ends across the board.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Knight is an absolute monster. We did know that is something to be feared as far as this pick is concerned. We didn't need to give him a killing.
Sim, ovo je najrealnije finale pre finala. Naravno, može se dogodi upset. Može uvek neko da može uvek neko da iznenadi, ja se nadam G2. Ali realno gledano, ovo je najverovatnije finale pre finala, tako da...
As Delight looking for a hook angle, see whether he can actually get in there, does find it onto On, and there's the cease and desist. They should be able to get the Nico here. Depth charge is onto the Ezreal though, so On will be able to escape. Bolt Breaker gets Kanavi out. That felt like a free kill.
Support Honor?
Yeah.
He's like, you know what?
I mean, I was calling a panic if you want to go with Honor.
I didn't think that you could get a refund if you got something for free, but that's what they did. All right, well, Zeka now back in this mid lane against Knight, and everything is just calmed down once again.
Until we go back to Void Probes. They're still open available. So, and also, I love the fact we're getting this heavy trading in the top side as well. Zeus really wanted to push the advantage in the matchup. With a good side steps though.
Yeah, great shockwave here from Knight to hold Zeka in position. The dissonance comes down as there's the Hex Flash from Delight. Looks for the angle, does not quite get it there on to Knight. But I'm really glad that Delight is looking for these angles, looking for these plays on this Nautilus here in this game. Yeah, there's that pesky grub.
Again, they really do have to be proactive with this comp here, trying to create some plays, and getting the vision is the first step. So uses his reset, walk out mid, and then look for another setup here. Again, Shun's Pantheon ultimate though is gonna be up very, very shortly, so they can look to make one of these side plays with it and put a stop to the proactive HLE.
Delight got some great vision on that top side though, so if you want to try and nullify that Pantheon ult, having an idea of where the camps are going to be spawning is the first stop of understanding where this Pantheon has access to. So with that, it is going to be Kanavi taking those grubs. You can expect that BLG's jungler is going to be on the bottom side, so the Aurora just going to back away for Zeka, not wanting to contest this Orianna.
Yeah, manages to clear out the wave as well, so no harm, no foul. And the Raptors are going to be the trade here for Shun. We can see in the jungle, things very, very even. Same to be said for the top side of the map. And You've got a 700 gold lead for Knight with those 3 kills. Still very even on farm, but that Rod of Ages starting to stack up, and you were talking about the Dark Seal, very scary.
Knight klasičan, bez Medžaja ne igra game Lola.
From those early stacks that he's picked up. Zayas here has the hard task of dealing with this Orianna, who is now just eaten plates.
G2 BLG finale, ja se nadam.
Like, if Delight can get in here, which he's trying to, or you get that point and click with the cease and desist and the buy.
Ja se iskreno nadam.
Down to Zayas. So you definitely want BLG to be able to protect him. And at the moment, you do have on here, but that's not a huge amount to try and help out with 3 members of HLE here.
The thing for HLE, as Kanavi goes for it anyway.
Yeah. On, taking a bit of damage. Kanavi sidesteps on those tangle bobs. Gets the Vault Breaker max range. Cease and desist. They hold him in position. The shockwave's decent, but the hook is better. Shun's still going to make his way down, though. The Grand Starfall is good for the Grim Deliverance. Looking to turn the play around. Gets the knock up on the Knight, but still, he dies. Couldn't stack it up. And now, Kumiyushi turns up. Looks to get the snipe on Knight. Doesn't do nearly enough damage. And Shun picks up a double. And it's blast cones for the escape here for HLE.
BLG protect the play. HLE knew to try and jump on Knight, but the backup is there, and BLG respond.
Yeah, Shun had just reset. Good flash from him as well. Kanavi does not have ult, so there's no...
Mislim, oba junglera će realno opasti ovaj game, tako da nije ni...
Knight is so dangerous on this Orianna. Being protected, getting more money, 1,000 now is the individual gold lead for him, and up to 8 stacks after the skirmish.
And Zeka must be feeling pretty annoyed that his lane opponent just keeps getting more and more money here in this game. Obviously not going to be matching up against him as much as this game continues. It's one of those interesting stories, though, as he's been the benefactor of just being in these fights at the right times, and Knight accelerating himself to a brilliant position very early on in this game. And it's exactly how an Orianna wants to be positioned.
So, Kanavi here is going to force on. I was wondering if they were going to be more cautious and like respect the Pantheon ult. Pantheon had just reset into the fountain, but they didn't have vision. But they do get the kill. They actually click on this time, so they do finish him off. But Shun arrives with Viper. Look how quickly they can actually kill Zayas here. You know, Viper with his lethal tempo stacked up, and then Shun flashes here the ultimate critical so that they can then follow.
And also is the fact that HLE went for this play as Gumayushi had reset in mid lane, so Viper was able to move down to the play without his counterpart on HLE being able to respond. So Knight now once more in this side lane, but much more attention to the top lane.
Now Kanavi, let's get onto his Grump. He's got a few friends in the area, as Shun and On both moving up, looking for a bit of an angle. There's taking some damage here as well, as, yeah, not having a great time in tonight right now. At least he has a null magic mantle. It just doesn't look like it's doing all that much, as the alternator has now been purchased by Knight. And Rift Herald looking to be started up. Viper moving over. And I think that they should be able to get this. Kanavi not looking too interested, maybe going for a trade, grabbing a double dragon if they could. They are beelining in that direction, and they have a lot of vision towards this bottom side.
Hextech Protobelt just completed for Knight, though. 2-item spike. Kind of nice here for the Orianna if BLG want to contest, but honestly, I think with the position they're in, they're just going to be happy to take the plate for a bit in the top side, put a bit more pressure. But as I say that, they're moving in, but I think this dragon's gone.
Yeah, it's just going to be taken here by Kanavi.
Yeah, I mean, good lead-up vision all around through the jungle of BLG, so they're able to slip in and take it, keep their dragon stacking going. They do still have to be fairly cautious. I mean, Knight still has not lost in spring on this champion. His KDA is 34.7.
That's a big one.
Currently on this one. Of course, you get to throw lots of Knight stats around from, from how dominant he has been, but it's always fun to throw him around anyway.
On does find a little bit of an angle here, doesn't have a lot of follow-up, but Gumayushi still takes some damage. Protobelt is done for the Nico as well.
Question will be, will they actually be able to get that kill on him with their Vi, with their Nautilus? They have so much possibility of getting a good flank, but everybody's going bottom, so kind of hard to go attack Knight and even get his flash when all of BLG consistently are leaning to that side of the map and playing around him when he's pushing up to a tower. So with flash, with Protobelt, you actually have quite a lot of mobility on this champion, and we'll see if HLE are able to get one of their flanks off with this team comp. It can be devastating, you know.
jako spora partija, jer obe ekipe znaju da ovaj game, mislim očigledno je li Hava ne smije izgubi game jer su na 2 luza, ali mislim da i BLG zna da ako izgubi ovaj game onda su u opasnosti da budu reverse sweeponi momentum na strani Hanve, tako da spori tempo svakako, ali kažem donekle očekivan kad pogledamo situaciju ove serije.
Now, I mean, now that he's laning against Bin, I think he's feeling a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, you can see how passive Knight is playing once he doesn't have his jungler and support on that side of the map. He's like, look, I'm going to back away, even with signing a ward in Tribrush, which kind of just says he does not want to give this gold over. And as long as BLG are able to keep him safe, play for these dragons, I think you're in an okay spot. But for HLE, it is kind of trying to find those moments where you get a play towards Viper or towards Vayne, or if Knight is overextended, to get this goal back in your favor.
And this is a close game, guys.
Yeah.
700 goals.
This is scrap.
At 20 minutes.
We did it.
Finally.
It only took 3 pauses.
Good job, everyone.
4 assists.
And I really, really want to see if at the next, wait a second, ultimate.
There it is, Grant Starfall to come on through. Zeus going to be able to get to the next brush. Shun moving over and just wanders it off.
Yeah, Shun kind of checks a couple different angles here, but Zeus just straight walked out.
Yeah.
Through the brush there, and now they get a pick of their own.
Yanka's going to miss, but the Chains of Corruption do land, and there is On going down.
Ide guma u njegovom stilu. A stvarno način, kad go pogledaš bilo koja international guma na Varusu je uvek ima neki ono insane performance.
Beautiful. Catch on into the rotation over. Point and click. See him and kill him immediately. Nice follow up there with the lockdown. But still we're looking at this next dragon. This next dragon, while it's not Dragon Soul, it is kind of a pivot point in the game. And if HLE can get their vision set up leading up to the dragon, then it gives them way better area to create the dream team fight that they have with these champions that are trying to get the pincer, trying to get that dive.
And with Storm Surge just completed on Zeka as well off that reset, he's in a very good spot to follow up on the buy engage, find that burst. Even if you do have some of the mobility on picks like this Ezreal, you still have the opportunity to burst them out with just how much raw damage is available for HLE right now.
Oof. Knight with an arm guard also though, man, there's just more safety layers here. Proto
Is downgrade?
with the arm guard, with the
Degrade.
flash as well.
Da, ne, znaš kako, u ovo vreme u danu dobro je što sam budan. To je dovoljan upgrade. Ne znam kako bi handlovali previše upgrade odjednom. Tako da ja od 5 ujutru je dovoljno šokantno za mene.
HLE still have the composition that can select a target to die. As, all right, there's a little bit of a root onto Zeka as On taking a lot of damage here. We'll be able to back away as Knight just deals with this top outer turret.
Yeah, and BLG basically giving Knight a free lane saying, hey, you go hit level 16, buddy. Next wave should give it to the Orianna, and that would be a devastating shockwave if it connects in a fight.
Pharrell Lord would be proud. It's okay. Zeka now, that's a...
To je low effort save, samo ću to da ti kažem.
3,000 ELO shockwave. I got you, buddy.
Yeah, thankfully. I knew you were there, Kobe.
Low effort save, hvala puno.
Zguma clears out this wave, and the Cassante towards the bottom side is going to be getting that one pushed forward as well. HLE still with a composition that can certainly tango later on into the game as well. But the Rift Herald is going to come on down, and BLG, I'm just seeing like Viper on Ezreal. This guy's been a magician late game on this champion. And Orianna needs no introduction as far as...
To je istina, to je true. Sa tim se slažem.
The Rift Herald is not going to do very much of anything at all as On goes maybe a little bit too deep. They do manage to take down a turret here as the Dragon is going to be secured by Shun. Looks to try and turn it here onto Delight. We need a depth charge to come through. It'll get the knock-up onto Shun as now Viper trying to play off to the side. And Zeus, can he stack up the pass? This on the answers, yes. Grim Deliverance is going to come in, but it's going to be a taxi out for Bin. They kill him though before he can escape. And On is thrown through the wall as Between Worlds came on down. Viper playing this one out gorgeously though. The arcade shifts the double kill. And there's the resurrection, but where is he being resurrected to? Zeus comes up and kind of wishes he had stayed down.
BLG protect the president. Knight will not go down.
Boga mi ostaju, dobro.
Pop Blossom wins the fight for BLG.
They do not hesitate. They force Delight out of the fight. So much damage into him. He does
Delight out of the fight, rimujemo.
And then look at the re-engage. They do get the passive stack up for Zeus. And he gets his ultimate over, but everybody he collapses back into this corridor
as
and then on strikes.
Huge shockwave, the pop blossom to follow, the snipe onto Gumayushi with the spear.
Viper isto radi baš puno posla. Baš puno posla radi Viper.
And if you didn't think BLG champions did enough damage, did you see the coach replay? As well.
Oh man, Danny absolutely popping off in the coach's booth. And they pick up the Baron off the back of this as well. You can understand the celebration. 700 gold on the Rebel Baron power play, but that will be extended even if it is an early Baron. 3,400 is the largest lead we've had so far this game because it's been a flat line throughout it so far. But now after this, I mean, 10 out of 10 for Knight. That's his kill participation as well as his performance so far in this game. Unbelievable stuff.
And there's your Ezreal stats atlas for Viper. His most played champion and Knight's most played champion in the same game.
Te realno coacha radi na hype I treba vrati. Mislim, kažem, šta god se ovdje dogodi, verovatno gledamo reprizu u finalu, ali opet doći iz upper bracketa uvek cool. A mislim imaš neku prednost, tipa biraš stranu pik nešto, bar na prvom gemu, što nije užasno.
It is difficult to kill this Baron up creep without the Varus, so just take a pop shot to the tower and BLG happy to support it.
And yeah, they just can't walk towards the orb. The orb is just too frightening. That's Azonia's fully completed here, 10 stacks on the Dark Seal. And Knight absolutely off to the races. And that stick on Zeka that we were talking about in the previous game, where it was like, that's the advantage that he has. It is now not
rekao sam najverovatnije. Ako kažem da G2 vina, G2 će izgubiti sigurno.
Zeka now looking for an angle though. He could go between the worlds as Knight taking some damage, piercing arrow, going to connect there as well. At least I think it did, as Navi trying to eat some honey fruit, but doesn't want to take that risk, as looking for Zeus here towards his top side. Grand Starfall does bring Shun up there, as now Viper possibly caught out of
position.
Kanavi going to be dancing away from him though, and now we'll see whether Zeus can keep himself alive for long enough to get that passive back up again. The Grim Deliverance comes down, Pop Blossom going to connect, and they destroy Zeus. HLE did get one back on to though.
Yeah, On was stuck inside the Baron pit, and they actually do pull one back for HLE. So a little bit of room to work with as they rotate everyone mid, and we'll get the tower off that.
So honestly, HLE coming out the better for wear off of that. Sure, you do lose Zeus, but you get still, you get the tower, you get the much needed.
Ne mogu, s druge strane to ne mogu da izgovorim naglas. Tako da I to je malo problem. Ne mogu da kažem da gubimo od NA ekipe, to je još gore. Rađe bi izgubio od Hanve ili od BLG-a, ako već moram da gubim. To jest ako moramo da gubimo, jer je Evropa cijela je u pitanju ovdje. Guma presto. Guma give up.
He could just steal 2 dragons. How about that? And a Baron.
It is Guma. That's pretty. That's doable.
His move.
Yeah.
See if he can steal some objectives for HLE, because BLG have the gold advantage, and it's concentrated gold advantage. You know, a lot onto Knight, onto this Orianna champion with the Medjais. So it's incredibly efficient here for their team, and they do have a lot of ways to deliver this shockwave. With Shun having a Guardian Angel, the Pantheon can just flash, stun right into their point and click and try to be the delivery. So Dragon will be avoided for now for HLE. Guma not in sight, so your smite...
Ja znam, meni će sutra biti za gledanje mnogo napetija serija nego ova. Jer ovdje kao kogo da pobedi realno svejedno, ono očekuješ jednu od dve ekipe u finalu sigurno. Ali I u NA sutra će biti show.
Themselves about 5 minutes of respite as True Barrage sailing down this mid lane one more time. But this gold lead hasn't extended past that 4,000 gold mark as a clone gets broken like a vault.
Oh, they're on a ward though. They don't realize.
Well, can HLE keep them interested though? That's the question. As, well, if you throw an orb at the guy, I think you're going to give yourself away no matter what.
I I do think, though, for BLG, you are pretty reliant on having the Baron to try and get out through these outer turrets, right? And I think this is kind of the thing we've seen a lot, is that especially when you're up against like the poke Varus, the wave clear from Zeka as well, that without that, I think it's a lot more difficult to push this game forward. Also, HLE have just abandoned Dragons and said, yeah, we're going to just play for sides. So that goal lead is going to stagnate for a little bit, at least for 50 seconds.
Yeah, it's just too dangerous. If you funnel in and you're trying to siege, then there's a lot of angles for HLE to get these engages off with their Nautilus Vi combinations. And so stick to the safer game plan out in the neutral territory here. And just look to the Baron, 30 seconds, and then you can try and draw HLE over to area that you already have controlled with vision, and they're going to find...
Yeah, that's going to be the Grand Starfall. Shun a little bit further away from Zeus than he wants to be, and Delight is going to be there for the defense. The anchor is going to land. Flash out, though, from Delight. Didn't really like that angle very much as he spots On coming out of the Tri-Brush. Good control here for BLG. They look to just really isolate this Baron, make sure there is no vision as Kanavi goes in. Not sure about that one. Zeus off to the other side is making that one work, but Zeka goes between the World's Viper. Off to the side is tagged by Delight. Shun now getting taken down to the GA, and Kanavi just going to die because he doesn't have that item. Zeus should be able to
Zeus pada, ovo Doom.
passive to stay alive, but once again,
Vratit će se, ima ult, ali nema, Viper ima free DPS, Viper ima free DPS, Viper ima preveliki problem.
Taking him down. Kuma will be ushered towards his inhibitor turret, but is he even safe there? There's an orb on top of Bin, making him nearly immortal, and Kumayushi will be obliterated by this Cassante. Zeka now with a couple of invaders in his house. We're going to try and see whether he can get rid of them, but BLG, they just want to head over towards maybe a Baron, but they don't have a jungler.
Yeah, BLG, they will chase Guma to the ends of the earth there, inside your own base. And they finish the kill, they'll finish the tower, and they will turn to finish the job. They increase their gold lead, and they still have the vision set up from the previous time, so they can go reset and then return to Baron again.
Yeah, I think that might have been the best opportunity for HLE, because there was a couple of whoopsies when it came toward the ultimates from BLG, but BLG still able to make it work. As On stepping forward, spots out Kanavi, but I don't think it'd be much else, just being a nuisance as On is one to do, I will say. But yeah, we'll see it in this fight, right? Because you get this as Kanavi goes in, the shockwave doesn't connect onto Kanavi, and I think that's why HLE full commit, thinking maybe they've got a chance here. But as this starts to follow through, Delight gets burst out by Viper, they can't really get on towards Nice. Bin is doing a good job of keeping Zeus out of the equation, and even as they try to go in to help out Zeus, On completely whiffs on the Pop Blossom as well, and just
4, ne znam ja, brate. Iskreno ne znam. Ne bi ja otpisao Amere, pogotovo ne protiv G2-a.
With the extra chase down here, they can follow him inside the base, get the extra kill, and then as we're looking at it, again, return to the Baron setup. You still have the vision work that you did last time around to play off of. They can just repeat the process.
Well, they do get some information as to what's happening on this Baron. But Banana Brush control is going to be there for BLG. They are ready for the turn. Pathmaker there from Bin. The Baron down very, very low. Kanavi just not there in time. The pullback does come through, but Bin may not be the target. They're looking for Chains of Corruption. They do layer this CC onto the Cassante.
Boga mi rade oni damage Binu, ali opet ode Baron.
And he just jogged it off.
HLE still want to try and contest here, though. They want to try and stop BLG from resetting. He gets out of the bush, but now it's a 4v5. HLE.
All right.
That teleport, though.
Yep, Zeus is down very, very low. Those mystic shots really starting to hurt here from Viper. True Shot Barrage does come on through as Bin makes his way back with a gigantic shield. Piercing arrows not piercing that one anytime soon, as HLE will slink away. That is going to be soul point available for both teams. BLG in a much healthier position to go for it.
Yeah, HLE, I think there's no way you want to throw the game at this Dragon. Even though you're down in gold, even though they just got Baron, you still have to hope at a
Samo skinny adlock, brat. Nema razloga da gledaš reklame na streamu. Ja sam objasnio ranije, moram da ih puštam, ali...
That poke is not going to stick around for very long, and it feels more and more like BLG are starting to punch their ticket to finals.
Not to mention, I mean, even Knight feels too tanky for him to get through. He's got health on the Rod of Ages, health on the Dash Cannon, and then Azonia's. I mean, I don't think this is going to be a task that the lethality Varus can really do by himself. Even if he does, you know, land an arrow towards an Ezreal, you can see those ultis raining on down. Chains of Corruption having to be used defensively here as Shun doesn't quite have the GA back available, but that will be up relatively soon as Bin was looking for an angle as well. Kanavi now finally with his GA, as there is one on Zeus as well, who does clear up this bottom outer turret to try and bring them back into touching distance with this gold. But it's the compositions that are starting to become a problem for HLE.
Yeah, they're going to have to find some crazy angle, and they're going for it now. Teleport with the flank from Delight.
That is definitely an angle. Depth charge comes in, and Zeka will find it. Takes down Viper.
Okay, big.
Okay, that is a big pick here for HLE. Still 4 minutes on a Baron, there's 4 minutes on a Drake, not a whole lot to go for, but maybe they...
Otvorit će malo mapu s ovim pikom ako ništa, tako da nije užasno.
They split push and they wait for an opportunity. Now another.
Yeah, Shockwave going to connect on to Zeus as he gets the knock-up on tonight, pulls him back. Grim Deliverance as Shun is now doing battle. Gumayushi does not want to 1v1 the Pantheon, and now he knows why. As Kanavi going to get pulled away by Bin, put down to the GA. Shun going to follow suit. Zeus is dealt with, and Bin is now just going to destroy this Vi with the help of On, who actually takes the kill for himself. BLG find the angle.
And that is one step too far into BLG territory. They punish HLE, and they're going to run it straight down mid.
Azanya's burned, 3 GAs burned, but it's HLE who are actually burned in the end. Zeka and Delight have to hold on. Decent damage onto Nice, but can he do more?
Well, there's 25 stacks on that Magi's, man. If that orb comes in anywhere near any of these HLE members, it could just be lights out, and that Shockwave is just about back up again. First inhibitor going to go down, but BLG a lot
Mislim, odlučili su da izgubi game, nisam. Šta sam im ja kriv što samo ne žele da vinaju game?
And set up for the next objective.
They see as Zeus tries to go in, the damage comes out very, very quickly. The Shockwave doing good work, but they jump on towards Nice because he knows that he has that GA, but the Pop Blossom from On, absolutely huge to buy that space alongside the Zanyas. Kanavi taken out by Bin, and it's Pantheon happy to go into the GA, just again to separate HLE and deny them any sort of follow-up onto Nice.
Yeah, I mean, Zeus had his Guardian Angel, so he really wanted to chase this play and make their comeback now. But they still had Zeka so far away. You can see on the mini-map that Aurora walking the entire time, and so they didn't have the necessary pieces to actually finish that play. And now BLG are on the offense.
Well, Shun gonna get knocked up, no GA this time around as he's caught by Zeus. He gets into the backline, but he's just obliterated. My God, the damage out of Viper. True shot for
Viper, čak i ukro red buff. Ne, brat već snima TikTok montaže, iskreno. Viper baš služio vino ovim, baš ni cijeni igra.
Taken out, it's on that picks up that kill, and it's now only Guma left to try and pick up the pieces, and I don't think it's going to be enough.
It's a 1 for 4. Gumayushi has to clear the wave, but stepping up is so dangerous against BLG right now.
Okay, will there be enough wave clear? That is the question. I do not think so. As Ben also going to make sure that Gumayushi's not allowed to press any buttons. He can tank up 2 Nexus turrets, and it looks to me like BLG has a date in the finals. HLE are going to have to go through another target if they want the rematch, and honestly, with this performance, I don't know whether anyone wants to face
Prelepo iskreno, nema šta. Jako, jako lepo BLG radi posao. Viper je jako, jako clean odigrao. Kasteri izgleda dobijaju da iskuliraju malo, ali... Fun, jako, jako fun. Ostavit ćemo analitičare, ostavit ćemo interven ekrana. Sutra, ljudi moji, od 10 sati gledamo G2 i gledamo Flycast da vidimo da li Evropa može dobiti Ameriku. Koreja je pala u lower finale, tako da pobednik tog meča ide na Hanvu, a gubitnik ispada i dobija 4. mesto. Vidjet ćemo, vidjet ćemo. Mislim da je jako bitno samo da idemo game po game i treba prvo pobediti Amere. Tako da ostavljam analitičare. Ljudi moji, mi se vidimo. Ako ne večeras na streamu, pošto večeras možda bacim Movie Night s Patreonima, Onda se vidimo sutra na Powderu, do sutra izlazi Powder, radi se playthrough sa Klarom i vidimo se na MSI-u sutra također. Tako da, veliki poz i vidimo se kasnije.
Fantastic in the lanes, fantastic in the fights, fantastic at basically everything. Knight is the complete player.
Yeah, it's amazing to see him have this kind of performance on the international stage because he has been pulling this kind of stuff all year, especially this past split in the LPL.
What's insane is his kills per game in this series is actually slightly lower than his split average.
Yeah.
So this is kind of just like an everyday Knight stat line, it feels like.
Underperforming, really.
Oh my god. Step it up.
I mean, it's just crazy to see him doing it against this level of competition, right? It's the LCK #1, and in a lot of these games, they made it look pretty easy.
They sure did. There was something you wanted to show us, I believe?
Yes, there was a team fight that to me felt like the series clincher. BLG went crazy in this, so we're just going to jump on into it. It was right around the 3rd Dragon fight, so we can bring this up and I can walk you through because this is pretty incredible. So, HLE do have mid-prio here. You can see that Viper is answering, and on the mini-map you're going to see Zeus is in this flank position. BLG are going to be able to take this Dragon, and we're going to move on into the clip. So, as we see them moving forward, it looks like HLE has the superior position. Viper is stuck over here, split away from the team. Zeus again on that flank, and Delight is going to be threatening this engage. But what BLG is really going to do here is so smart. Immediately, Shun turns on to Delight to get this chunk at the start of the fight. Look how much damage they get down onto him. They force out the flash as well as the ult. And Viper, most AD carries would have moved into this positioning. He stays on the side and decides to continue playing the fight from this angle. So, BLG kiting back. Shun gets into a little trouble. Zeus is moving forward and is really strong at this part of the game. Zeus gets his fully stacked passive. He's going to go aggressive. Shun has to flash out. But right as Shun flashes out, you can see Bin moves in to control this space. Again, Viper still threatening on the side here, making it difficult for them. Then, Zeus ults in, the immediate turn from Bin onto him, ulting back, and then the turn